Kevin Grosskopf, you're an amputee born with a birth defect, a program manager at Spina Bifida Coalition, and you're a real estate agent, plus so much more. What do people usually get wrong about you when they first meet you?
Well, Zach, thank you for having me here tonight. Something I get asked quite often, and I actually just got this asked yesterday if I was a veteran, if I was a combat
Ah,
veteran, get that asked quite a bit, and it's understandable.
yeah.
But yeah, that's something people get wrong about me quite a bit. I usually just say no, I'm not a veteran. But when I had my amputation, I was 23 years old. Missing a limb, or specifically missing a limb, and it's like that's a question I get asked very, very often.
Interesting. When I was at a retail store, somebody asked me if I was in the Vietnam War, and I'm like, "How old do you think I am?" I was like 20 something at the time, and it was like, "Bruh, come on."
Mhm.
Okay, interesting. And so you use a wheelchair from time to time,
Yes.
and you walk from
Mhm.
time to time.
Yes.
Do you get different responses from people when you have a wheelchair versus walk?
Sometime, but yes, yes. So I use my chair most of the time outside of the house.
Yeah.
For example, my limit is about grocery shopping.
Uh-huh.
So 30-45 minutes or so, and I can brace myself on the cart. But that's about my limit. Um, Sometimes I just take my chair in. If my back's hurting or if I'm just feeling tired that day, I'll take it in. Um, but I also have a prosthetic on my left leg. I have my foot amputated 8 years ago, and I also wear a brace on my right lower leg. And before my amputation, I wore identical braces on both legs.
Sure.
Um, People do. I get asked if I would veteran more in my chair, and you know, people there. I hear more questions or comments if I'm in my chair, and I think largely just because it's more visible. It's
Yeah.
this big box shaped thing that
Mhm.
that most people aren't accustomed to seeing on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Um, None of it's ever offensive, at least in my experience.
Sure.
Um, and I welcome questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're gonna get into a lot of that today. I definitely want to learn more about your disability and your life in real estate and the Spina Bifida Coalition
Mhm,
and all that. So, um, for those who don't know you,
mhm.
who are you?
Well, my name's Kevin. I'm 31 years old, and I have what's called spina bifida, and it's a birth defect that manifests itself in so many different ways. And for example, uh, my manifestation of it is a mild case of the most severe form.
Yeah.
So there are three forms of spina bifida. There's spina bifida occulta, which is sometimes called hidden spina bifida.
Mhm.
Some people don't even know that they have it. Then there's meningocele, and then there's myelomeningocele, which is the most severe form, and that's what I have. So when a baby is forming in the womb, the back closes up like a zipper,
Mhm.
and with spina bifida, sometimes it fails to close because one or more of the vertebrae is open,
Mhm.
and so the spinal cord is actually hanging out of the back in a sac. Um, when the baby is born, there now are surgeries that can be done in utero that can um, it that allows the baby to develop, I guess, in a more typical way. I'm not
Yeah.
well versed in it. I did not have the surgery in utero. I was a C-section,
Mhm.
and actually, my mom told me that at the time, there was a moratorium placed on the in utero surgery, so it couldn't
Oh.
be done at all.
Did she know you had spina bifida?
Yes,
Uh,
so my mom had um, she had I think she called it an amniocentesis, which is where a doctor will um, Oh, no, I'm sorry. She had an ultrasound done,
Mhm.
and then the ultrasound tech talked to a doctor, and she had a second test done, the amniocentesis, which is where they took a sample of the amniotic fluid, and they found cerebrospinal fluid in there, which is
Uh,
evidence that there's an opening in
yeah.
the central nervous system
Mhm.
coming out of me. So um positive for spina bifida.
Mhm.
And I'm not exactly sure how early or late it was in her pregnancy. I believe it was fairly early.
Mhm.
But I couldn't give you an exact week or day
Yeah.
about it. So the way that resulted with me is I am partially paralyzed below the waist, and once you reach below my knees, the paralysis becomes complete. So, for example, I cannot like kick my leg backward, starting at the waist. You know, my glutes are pretty much non-existent, but my quads have kind of overdeveloped to compensate for that,
Mhm.
and feeling also becomes spotty below the waist. Like on the backside, I can't feel below my waist. On the inside, like I can feel on the inside of my thigh, and on the inside of my lower leg and the inside of my foot and ankle all the way down. But I
Mhm.
can't feel the tops, bottoms, outside of my foot or my toes. And it was like that. It's like that for both legs and
Yeah.
both feet when I had both feet.
Ah, okay, interesting. We have very similar. For those that don't know, I also have spina bifida, and it's the exact same kind. And I you can probably walk a little bit better than I can. So I can walk. I mostly need support. I used to walk until fifth grade. I use crutches, and then yeah, and got in a wheelchair after that. By choice, it was I felt more independent that way. So um, okay, the next question: how do we know each other?
So we were introduced to each other from by Yvonne Bolts, who
Mhm.
works at or who runs Bolts to Nuts Farm with her husband Eric. And Bolts to Nuts Farm is designed from the ground up as an accessible farm, and they offer accessible cooking classes.
Yep.
I've done a number of the cooking classes, and Yvonne told me that she had done one of these podcasts previously and asked me if I wanted to do it. She said she had mentioned my name to you, and
Yeah.
I said, I'd be happy to talk about it and
Yep.
do it.
Yep, they were on the podcast a few episodes ago. So if you enjoyed this episode, check out their episode as well. Yeah, so they were a blast to have on. I've not been to their adaptive cooking, but I hope to get in there soon and maybe take some more video and put it on my podcast, see if I can help promote their cause a little bit more too. So, but yeah, so we've never met before.
First time.
This is our first time meeting in person. At least we talked via text a little bit, but that's about it. So I'm excited to get to know you and learn all about you. So. Next question is if we weren't here in studio, where would you be?
Honestly, I'd probably just be at my house, kind of tidying things up,
Mhm.
um, just relaxing
I like it, yeah.
for the evening, playing on my you know playing games on my computer.
Mhm.
Lately, I've been playing uh, on my Nintendo 64. I've been playing uh, Majora's Mask.
Oh,
Haven't played that in years, and I'm like, this is so much fun.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and these past probably 3 or 4 weeks, I've just been on all the time, just
Mhm.
sun up to sundown. It just has not stopped.
Yeah.
And I'm exhausted. So last week I took a couple of evenings just off.
Mm,
It's just my time.
mhm.
And uh and I've since recovered from it, but man, Majora's Mask is such a good game. So
Yeah.
it's I got sucked right back into it after not playing it for probably It's probably been 15 years.
Yeah, yeah. So are you a big Zelda franchise fan or
Not really.
what? Get
So
out. This podcast is
okay, I
over.
quit. I quit. I'm out. So I've played 4 of the mainstream Zelda games. I've played Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess. And
Okay.
I revisited Twilight Princess last year, and that's just hit a sweet spot for me. It's like that is just I forgot how good that game is and how much fun it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
But I play all kinds of games. I have a weekly game night with my friend Sean.
Oh, cool.
So we'll just play whatever over Steam.
Yeah,
Lately we've been playing a game called It Takes Two, which is a co-op
yeah.
game.
I've heard of
It's a
that.
lot of fun.
Okay.
Just the amount of co-op and cooperation. It's so much fun. Sometimes we'll play, Civilization or Payday, Minecraft, Terraria,
Yeah.
uh, just just
So
typically whatever he finds.
so I wanna go back to Zelda
Yeah.
because the reason why I told you to get out is because that's my favorite
Yeah.
franchise of all time. I've probably played I played most of the mainstream Zeldas. I probably haven't played some on, like, the Game Boy or
Uh-huh.
whatever else, but I'm getting through some of those,
Mhm.
but I just recently started to replay Wind Waker as
Mhm.
well, now that the Switch 2 has it,
Mhm.
and then I I played Ocarina of Time
Mhm.
like, probably within the last 2 years, and then I immediately went to Majora's Mask, and it was like, "Alright, this is too much Zelda. I need to I need to stop." So, I did not make it through Majora's Mask, but I do plan to continue that. So you've not played any of the newest ones, like
Nope,
Tears of the Kingdom or
I
Breath
have
of the
not.
Wild?
No,
Why?
well, I I never got any system beyond the Wii.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I've got Twilight Princess for the GameCube, but that is the so 2006, 20 years ago is the last time I bought a Zelda game, so, yeah,
Okay.
I I had a Wii, I've got an Xbox 360, and
Yeah.
I was good with the 360. I still play my 360. And then my friend Sean, he helped me build a computer in 2015, and so that's where I started playing
Yeah.
most of the games.
Right. Okay.
Which Legend of Zelda just isn't on.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you seen the speedruns for Zeldas?
they're insane.
They're awesome.
It's like, people how do people find these
Right.
glitches? It's like, how you move the joystick, at a 38-degree angle, and you press the B button within 2.8 seconds, and all of a sudden, you're halfway through the game. It's like,
Right.
wild,
Right. It
wild.
is. It's pretty cool, especially with the like Majora's Mask and
Mhm,
Ocarina of Time. Like they've got some pretty crazy speed runs that like I don't know. It's fun. There's GDQ. It's games done quick,
mm,
and it's a it's a Twitch um they're on Twitch, and every 6 months, they'll do, like, a GDQ.
mhm,
There's, like, SGDQ, which is summer, and then GDQ, which is, like, the main one, I guess, and they raise I think last time they raised money for, like, Doctors Without Borders, and they just do these fundraisers, and they invite these best speedrunners around the country
mhm.
to actually, like, just do these speedruns in all these different games, and it's so cool.
Wild.
Um, but and then the different genres of speedrunning, it's like getting all the hearts of Zelda, for example, or like, getting, I don't know, all the items or whatever else. It's a pretty interesting world to dive into.
Mhm.
So, one uh, what is one skill or trait that you would want to learn overnight?
Organization as a that's not the right word, but
Okay.
organization time management.
Mm,
Time management. So, one manifestation of spina bifida is executive dysfunction,
yeah.
and for me, that manifests in poor time management and disorganization.
Mhm.
And I get so mad at myself and so frustrated with
Mm.
myself when I manage my time poorly and I'm disorganized.
Mm.
And these past couple weeks where I said that I've been on the whole time, I have been so good about managing my time and staying on a schedule and,
Yeah.
going to bed on time,
Mhm.
waking up on time, doing what I need to be doing, focusing. It's been great, but executive functioning is so frustrating for
Mm.
me, and a lot of times that manifests itself in not getting started on tasks
Mm.
and procrastinating just starting.
Yeah.
Once I'm over the hurdle of starting, I'm good. I
Mhm.
am good to go, and I
Mhm.
will just focus and I'm good. But it's getting over that hurdle, and it is so unbelievably frustrating.
Yeah.
Um, but something that I'm consciously reminding myself it's like just do it.
Mm.
If some and breaking things down into much smaller tasks. uh for example, laundry, instead of you know doing laundry and having it sit on top of my hamper. Once it's clean, put it away, iron what I need to do,
Yeah.
or instead of laying these shirts on the ironing board, iron them, get it done. And and just doing things so nothing becomes overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because for me, once something snowballs, it just gets worse and worse and worse and harder and harder and harder to do.
Yeah.
And it's like it's got to get done anyway.
Mhm.
So just do it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things is, yeah, but time management.
Yeah.
Time management. If I could just have that and not have to think about it,
Mhm.
I think things for me would be so much easier.
Yeah. What are some the just do it the just do it I like that as a skill. Are there any other skills that you've learned that kind of help you with that executive function?
I'm trying to think. Just do it, kind of. Th- That I mean that's the big one, and also
Yeah.
just breaking things down.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah.
for example, it's not cleaning the whole bathroom. It's clean the mirror.
Yeah.
Mirror's clean. Clean the sink.
Mhm.
Sink's clean. Clean the toilet. Toilet's clean. Clean the bathroom or bathtub. Bathtub's clean. Clean the
Yeah.
floor.
Yeah.
Floor's clean.
Yeah.
Each of those things takes a few minutes at
Yeah.
most. And it's not, oh, do this for 45 minutes.
Right.
45 minutes is not a long time anyway, but
Right.
it's just breaking it down, breaking it down. Also, I'll get distracted very easily. I will get something in my head, and then it's like, just no, just now you're focusing on that thing,
Yeah.
whatever that irrelevant thing is.
Right.
And so keeping things in their lane, and also prioritizing, to answer your
Mhm.
question, prioritizing
Yes.
and focusing on what's important. And are you familiar with the Pareto principle?
I am,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's something I.
But for those who don't know, what is it?
It's 20% of the effort will get you 80% of the way there,
Mm.
and just focusing on the important, critical things will get you 80% of the way there, and
Yeah.
that's I'm finding that to be very true.
Yeah, I've liked Stephen Covey. Are you familiar with who that is?
Yeah, the 7 habits.
Yeah, yeah, and he talks about, like, pick 3 things
Hmm.
that you should focus on, 2 to 3. If you pick more, then, they're all gonna
Yep,
you have a better chance of them all not getting done. So,
exactly.
yeah, that prioritization, I think, is super important. So, um, yeah, that's an interesting skill. Do you have a shunt?
I do not.
You do not.
No.
Okay, interesting.
So I have enlarged ventricles, but no shunt.
You have enlarged ventricles.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. So a shunt for those who don't know, can you explain that?
Yeah. So with spina bifida, something that's reasonably common is something called hydrocephalus, which is where cerebrospinal fluid builds up in the cranium and puts pressure on the brain.
Mhm.
And also, so your ventricles store cerebrospinal fluid, and So mine are larger than normal, but
Mhm.
they're not to the point where they're putting dangerous amount of pressure on the brain,
Yeah.
because hydrocephalus can be fatal
Yeah.
if you don't if you need a shunt and you don't get one, it can be fatal. So
Mhm.
what a shunt does is it drains cerebrospinal fluid out of your brain, and they very often, some of the people I know, they have a shunt where it just drains into their abdomen and then the
Yeah.
body reabsorbs it.
Yep.
What about yourself?
Y
Do you have a shunt?
I do have a
Did you?
shunt, yeah, but it has not been used. I mean, it hasn't ever been replaced
Mm,
in my entire life. And the head symptoms that I was telling you beforehand that I was having, I was very concerned that maybe my shunt was the problem. There's still it's still not fully fleshed out as far as what the problem is,
mhm.
why I'm having these head problems, but yeah. So I don't think it's shunt related. I think I'm gonna get an MRI soon, and uh we can hopefully rule that out and maybe identify something else. I don't know. Um okay. Let's do Oh, everybody, welcome to the Rolling Forward podcast. It's a podcast of people who keep rolling forward no matter what life throws at them. Real stories, real people, powered by purpose, resilience, and a drive that never ends. I'm Zach Sikora. Spina Bifida didn't stop me. It just gave me a better excuse to sit down while I take over the world. Today's funny t-shirt is Wheelchair Mafia with a Wheelchair Mafia figure on the shirt. There's an inside joke here. I'm not going to get into it. I've talked about it on other podcasts, but this is a shirt that you can get on my rollingforward.printful.me store. You can get this shirt and a whole bunch of other shirts that are. You can get the podcast branded shirt. You can get a whole bunch of humor type shirts. So go to rollingforward.printful.me. Also, if you have any questions for Kevin, please leave it in the comments. I answer all the comments, and I know where he lives. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea where
I
you
hope
live.
not.
No, but I can connect with him, and we can get whatever question you have answered that maybe I didn't ask him in today's episode. Don't forget to like and share the episode with someone who you think might enjoy this episode as well. Now let's keep going into today's episode with Kevin. Okay, so getting a little bit more into your disability. So you kind of mentioned everything about how you what kind of functions you have and stuff like that. How growing up, how did it impact your day to day?
It it really didn't all that much. My parents, they very much encouraged me to have as typical of a childhood as I could.
Yeah.
So, I've always needed braces. I've
Mhm.
always needed a chair. And they made sure that I had the accommodations that I needed. So, I had what's called the 504 plan when I was in school.
Mhm.
And so I was in a a a, a typical setting, if I just needed accommodations. Really the only accommodations that I needed were, I could go to the nurse when I needed to help Kath. I could, obviously, have my chair. And also, when I was in elementary school, I could have a water bottle at my desk,
Mm.
because the one of the medicines that I take, one of the side effects is dry mouth,
Yeah.
and I definitely needed that.
Yeah.
But my parents, they never treated me as this fragile little egg that could never do anything. Or
Mhm.
it's like, I remember several years ago, I was talking with my mom, and she said that one of the doctors that she talked to, when I was born, or maybe even just before I was born, getting ready to have a kid with spina bifida, she told my parents, let him fall,
Mhm.
let him fall, let him fail, let him screw up, let him be a kid.
Yeah.
Not, it wasn't in a cruel way, it wasn't like a neglectful way, but yeah, I think that to succeed, you've got to fail.
Yeah.
Failing is part of life. As long as you get back up and learn from your failures, learn where you're screwing up, know when to ask for help.
Yeah.
Um, I'm so growing up, I was never I there really I was never a victim of any bullying or anything like that. I remember, kids would ask me, okay, why do you use a wheelchair? Why do you walk like that? You know, kids being kids, they don't have much of a filter. So, what's wrong with your legs? What's wrong with you? Why do you walk like that?
Sure.
So it's like, oh, I have spina bifida, and just my legs don't work right. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Let's go play or whatever. And so
Yeah.
it it was very much. I was growing up. I was never afraid to just be myself, and
Yeah.
it's like, this is me. This is what I am.
Yeah.
That my disability isn't everything about me, but it's not something that I can run away from or hide.
Yeah.
It's just part of me.
Run away from. Was that a
Yeah.
wheelchair joke?
No, no, but that's it could have been. But no, I was not thinking that far.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just kidding.
Can't roll away from it.
But you mentioned you never got bullied. Interesting.
Mm,
So I did,
mhm,
and you're about 10 years younger than me. And I know, society today is probably a lot more accepting
mhm.
than society back when I was in school. Do you think that is the reason, or like why, like that kind of surprises me actually.
I mean, it very well could have been. There things. A lot can change in 10 years.
Yeah.
I know somebody who's in his, I think, mid 40s,
Mhm.
and his parents were told, your kid will never be able to walk, he'll never be able to talk. He needs to be institutionalized and just forget about him.
Yeah.
Well, he's holding a full time job. He's living on his own. He's doing great.
Mhm.
An institution is would not be the place for him.
Right.
So maybe that. Also, the location that I grew up in Mason, Ohio, which was a very, I guess, accepting
Yeah.
community, and I went to Mason schools,
Mm.
uh, K through 12,
Yeah.
and so it was very. I was fortunate that Mason does have a lot of resources at its disposal,
Mhm.
and there's also a there it, there were a lot of kids. I graduated with over 800 kids. There was over 3,000 students in my high school.
Wow.
So there's no, I mean, there's just so many people to
Mhm.
make friends with, and
Yeah.
I just never really experienced. I just never experienced bullying, or if I did, I might have just been too oblivious.
Or you just brush it off
Just
like,
brush it
"Okay,
off.
I don't know you."
Yes,
Like, "Who
yeah. It's like
who are you?"
I
Like,
got I got better things to do.
"Your words mean nothing,"
Yeah,
kinda thing. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Interesting.
yeah.
Do you have any stories from your childhood that, like, or I don't know, are just fun or kinda exemplify who you are today or shaped you or whatever else?
So this is a bad idea. Don't do this. So when I was probably 7 or 8 years old, so there's walking paths near my house,
Mhm.
and this was when a lot of my neighborhood was still under construction. So there was a lot of scrap material laying around that we I guess we technically did steal it, but we're 7 or 8 year old boys, just being stupid 7 and 8 year old boys. So we're grabbing like bricks and plywood and stuff, and we're gonna make a ramp so I can go jump on my wheelchair. Yeah, one of the neighborhood moms saw us and put a stop to that real quick because it would have resulted in a broken face.
Yeah, yeah.
Not a good idea.
So I went to a skate park when I was in high school
Uh huh.
in my wheelchair, and I strapped myself into the wheelchair. And, there was something called a spine transfer, and a spine transfer is something that comes up. It's a ramp on both sides that
Hmm.
kind of connects together with like
Like a
a
grind rail.
spine.
Yeah.
And so what our goal was to get me to go up and then back down, and we we had, I mean, it was a pretty big one, at least for that when I was that age. But I had friends like try to push me and like try to push me really fast, and I couldn't ever get quite up the ramp. So what I did was, like, you know how the gymnastics Charlie horses,
Yeah.
like, you kinda, like, pivot
Yeah.
and you go around. I put my hands on the top of the spine. I rotated my whole body around, wheelchair and all, and then landed on the other side. Well, I landed on the other side with on just one of my back wheels,
Mhm.
and I landed on my hand rim. And my hand rim, it went like this as it went around my wheel. And I had other sets of wheels,
Mhm.
and so like I did not tell my parents for the longest time that like my wheelchair that wheel was just done. So I thought they were gonna kill me. So I kept that from them. So it's interesting. We have a lot of similarities with our upbringing and stuff like that. Okay. Uh how about what keeps you rolling forward?
Just life. I mean, I've got goals. I've got hopefully 50, 55 years left, which
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of time, but it's also not a lot of time, and I wanna make the most of it.
Yeah.
I wanna live the best life I can.
I love
It's
it.
the only one I got.
Yeah. You mentioned you mentioned something along the lines of purpose and like failing.
Mhm,
And that's a really big hot button for me.
mhm,
Because do you think society it it's interesting. I've had a lot of discussions with people about this on the podcast, but do you think society is um more so like they don't want to fail as a whole?
I would say yes. I
Yeah.
mean, nobody wants to fail, nobody
Yeah.
likes to fail, but I think that failure is a good learning opportunity most of the time.
Yeah.
And failing could be, I mean, you fail a test in school, you fail to make a friend, you fail to, uh, you fail to get that date, you get rejected.
Mhm.
Um, you fail to get, that job accepted. You fail on a project at work.
Mhm.
There's, relationships fail.
Yep.
I think it's important to, I mean, and all of it is, it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of times it hurts. But I think a lot of times you can look at those failures and see what went well, what didn't go well, and what can you do for next time,
Yeah.
you know? Or, if if that's if that situation just went totally wrong, I mean,
Mhm.
just everything went wrong, do you just completely abandon w- what you that what you were going for, and do you go on to something else?
Right.
Because that's also an option.
Right.
Um, I think just really being reflective and understanding, what you can do, because
Mhm.
I think that really helps with personal growth. But
Yeah.
overall, as a society, yes, I think that we're terrified of failing.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I also think what's connected is we're a society who lacks purpose. Would you agree with that statement as well? A lot of people lacking purpose?
Y- Yeah, I think so. A lot of people, I think, are in the rat race, and maybe they lack purpose, and maybe it's outside of their control, or at least they think it's outside of their control.
Yeah.
They can't worry about their dreams because they've got bills to pay and mouths to feed.
Mhm.
They are, every dollar that comes in goes out somewhere. There's no time to relax. There's no time to, if you've got kids, there's, no time to nurture those relationships, your significant other. There's no time to nurture that relationship, no time to
Mm.
nurture your friendships. And I think that we're just all, not all, but I think a lot of us are just nose to the grinder
Mm.
all the time. And we don't really have time to think about what we really want to do with ourselves, and what we
Mhm.
what we really want to achieve with
Mhm.
ourselves. Um, and I think that Americans are individualistic to a fault.
Mm.
Like there where it's asking for help is seen as a failure, like we
Mhm.
were talking about, and failure is a bad thing
Mhm.
a lot of times in our society. I think that just taking a step back
Mhm.
at a lot of things, and that's my train of thought.
No, you're good.
uh but yes, I think especially right now, everybody's stressed.
Yeah.
Everybody's stressed
Mhm.
for a reason or another. And I think that there's a lot of noise coming from a lot of directions in
Mhm.
everybody's lives, and that it is just overwhelming. And I think that
Yeah.
with especially with Americans being so individualistic, it's you feel like maybe you can't ask for help, you feel stuck, you don't know
Mhm.
what to do because you know y- you know talking about your problems, nobody cares about your problems. Nobody wants to hear about it. It's like, no, talk about your problems.
Yeah.
Get ideas. Sometimes it feels good to just vent.
Mhm.
When I was in college, I was really struggling,
Mm.
and my friend Sean, we would just on the whenever I had time to come back, he and I would just go to Steak and Shake, and for just 2 hours, just rant
Mm.
about whatever was going on in our lives. And it was the most cathartic thing ever,
Cool.
just ranting about
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Interesting. What's something you're actively working towards right now?
Something I'm actively working towards right now is I'm working towards getting my financial advisor license for Ohio.
Heck yeah.
So there are 3 tests that I have to pass for that. I've passed my first two, and I'm studying for the second one. I'm about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way there,
Okay.
and it's a lot of very dry, dense material,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
but
It
it's good information, I think.
we were just talking. I had my investment license
Mhm,
several years ago as well, and yeah, like I do like man, that was probably one of the times in my life that I was most proud
mhm,
of how much I worked, and like, man, that the material is so boring, but being able to get through the material was like, okay, you can do this. This is pretty cool.
mhm.
So yeah, that's awesome. What's one tool you use to keep your momentum when things get hard?
I would say my calendar.
Yeah, me
It
too.
it keeps me on task,
Mhm.
and something I'd like to get better at is time blocking,
Mm,
and so I can nail down the day to day
mm,
rather than the week to week,
yeah.
if that makes sense.
Okay.
So, I know it has to be done on Thursday, but I
Ah.
would like to nail it down on when does this stuff have to be done on Thursday, and
Mm.
better prioritize those things.
Do you like routine?
I do. I
Okay.
very much like routine.
Okay.
I like routine. I like structure.
Yeah.
I I tend to be very flexible, and when things don't work out, they typically don't throw everything off.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do, sometimes I just get very frustrated. Um, if I'm focusing on something and then it just seems like everything's a train wreck.
Yeah.
Um, but I very much like structure and routine,
Mm.
and even, if I'm not following an hour by hour routine, which is something that I'd like to do and I'm actively working on. Just having a general idea of getting these things done in the morning and
Mm.
getting these things done in the afternoon, these things done in the evening.
Yeah.
I think it's a stepping stone
Yeah.
to get there.
Interesting. So it's interesting. If you would have asked me 10 years ago if I liked routine, I would have said absolutely not.
Mhm,
But now that I've had, like, I feel like I have a lot more purpose in my life and I'm doing a lot more things that are meaningful to me. And so I, the structure that I have is pretty important, right? And so breaking that structure is less desirable to me now than it was like say 10 years ago for me. So
Mhm.
that's interesting. Let's let's get into a little bit of you answered several of these questions already. So was there ever a time that like when you were a kid growing up that you realized that you were different?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
think that I don't think that there was ever like a turning point where it's like, "Oh, I am different." I think it's just always been, "This is me, this is my life."
Yeah.
But I don't think that there was ever really like a turning point.
Mm,
Um,
okay. Yeah, I don't know that I have an answer to that question myself. but but there were times that like it's interesting like when I think our parents raised me or my parents raised me the same similar to your parents. Like my mom had a quote growing up, if you break a bone it'll heal, but if you break their spirit it'll paralyze them for a
mm,
lifetime. And I like she lived by that quote, and it was such an amazing quote. But I she tells me the story of like how I said something along the lines of, "I wish everybody had crutches." And that's such a weird statement thinking about it now, because it's like I didn't say I wish I was like everybody else. I said I wish everybody else was like me.
mhm,
And it's like I don't know. Some psychologists out there listening can like psychoanalyze that, but like I don't know. It's just kind of interesting.
mhm.
Um, um, let's get into your amputation story. So,
Okay.
what so one interesting thing real quick with spina bifida is you and I were both born with club feet. Is
Mhm.
that correct?
Yes.
So I was born with club feet, and one of the doctors said, "Well, it would be easier if you just amputated your feet,
Mhm,
your son's feet." They said that to my parents, and they're like, "No way." Um, and so you had club feet.
mhm,
You got your club feet corrected,
mhm.
and then later on in life, you became an amputee.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and kick us off. How'd that happen?
Okay, so, my amputation doesn't actually have anything to do with club feet. It was, me being a particularly stupid child.
Okay.
So, this starts when I was 9 years old, and growing up, I had really bad eczema and dry skin on my feet.
Mm,
And so this is, stupid 9-year-old Kevin mindlessly picking at dry skin on the bottom of my heel. Couldn't feel it, just mindlessly just pick, 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 pick. And eventually I ended up peeling off a piece of skin that was about on my heel that was about 2 to 3 inches long, about a half inch wide, and 1/8 inch deep. I mean, it was deep.
okay.
Couldn't feel it. No
Yeah.
pain, nothing. So this I mean, and I did not realize at the time how important it was to just stay off of it to let it heal.
Yeah.
So it eventually it got infected, we and it would heal up superficially. Um, and I had surgery on it just to try and, I mean, clean out all the tissue, all the dead tissue. You got a big fat pad in your heel. Um, just cleaning all that out. I tried like whirlpool therapy, um, and it would heal up superficially, but then inside it was harboring an infection,
Ooh.
and so it would split like every 18 months. Is 6 to 18 months. It would heal up, callus over, and split.
Mm.
Heal up, callus over, split, and it was just these calluses would just keep coming back, come back, come back, come back. And this went on for 14 years till I was 23.
Wow.
And finally, It flared up overnight one time, and so I went to bed on a Friday and woke up, and my heel was split open, and my ankle was swollen up to about the size of an orange, and
Ooh.
I was so mad. So I had already had, like I said, I had had surgery on this. I had had 2 PICC lines for IV antibiotics. For those of you that don't know what a PICC line is, it's an IV that rides, instead of a vein, it rides an artery and straight into my heart, and I was getting IV antibiotics injected straight into my heart.
What?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
and so I was so angry, and at and I'd been seeing a podiatrist, foot doctor. They would, scrape it, and they'd put me in contact casts to offload it, and all this stuff. And so I went to the emergency room, and they admitted me to the hospital. And then on and then the following Monday, this was in 2018. So then the following Monday, the podiatrist that I'd been seeing, um, uh, came in, and I talked with him. Oh, and during that weekend when I was in the hospital, they took an MRI of it, and you could just see my heel bone was just black
Oh,
with infection. Just you anybody could tell. Yep, that's not right.
yeah.
You could see it's like white bone, white bone, white bone, black bone.
Oh my.
And I'm talking with my podiatrist, and I said, I'm tired of this. Can we functionally, a prosthetic would be pretty much the same as my brace
Yeah.
because I can't move my ankle anyway. It's like it would start at pretty much the same place just below my knee. And I'm like, just like, can we just cut this thing off? And he's like, yeah, we can do that. Great, let's schedule it. So 6 weeks. So it was actually a cardiac surgeon that did my amputation.
Whoa.
Yeah, because they wanted somebody who was good with vascularity
Uh-huh.
and could make sure that my stump would get enough blood flow to
Oh,
heal well.
yeah.
Yeah. Not an orthopedic surgeon, a cardiac surgeon, which was wild.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, 6 weeks later, I had it amputated, and instead of going to the podiatrist every 6 to 18 months in the last 8 years, I've not been to the podiatrist once.
Wow.
No foot, no foot problems.
Awesome.
It's great. It's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life.
It was.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
interesting. That's, yeah, it's interesting, like, I can feel my heel on the inside of my leg.
Mhm.
So, how high up, like, did they just cut your foot off
So
or
what they did was they amputated about 8 inches below my knee,
okay,
and that's not,
that's a lot.
that's a lot. Um,
Why'd they
so the reason that they did that, I was told, is so they've got enough space to do the prosthetic.
uh,
So they've physically, there's enough space between your stump and the floor
yeah,
to, have the pylon and have the foot,
okay,
rather than just, cutting it off at the ankle. That's what I thought they were going to do.
yeah,
But, talking with the surgeon beforehand, it's the most wild thing because this is how they measure where they're going to cut my leg off. The surgeon comes in, he puts his hand on the head of my tibia, just below my kneecap, and he just marks the end of his hand.
what?
It's like, all right, yep, we're just gonna cut it off there. Yeah.
What? And you had feeling in part of the stuff that part of the leg that
Yes.
they amputated,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Just not function.
Correct. Yes. No function.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't lose anything with function
Right.
other than, support, but the
Right.
prosthetic takes care of that. No problem.
Okay. Interesting.
The only thing that is more difficult is, interestingly, going downstairs. And I'm not sure why this is, but there's a little bit more hesitation in my step going downstairs.
Yeah.
Not I'm sure it has something to do with the muscle, but
Does that have anything to do with like the feeling that you lost maybe too?
maybe because there's, obviously there's no feedback. There's less,
Yeah.
feedback for the shock.
Right.
So it's very possible. I
Yeah.
I just I just don't know, but I've adapted, and so From the time I went to the hospital for my amputation, that surgery, to the time I was discharged was about 60 hours.
Oh,
So
wow.
crazy short amount of time.
Yeah.
It's like you're in, cut off. I was really so they brought the occupational therapist in to like make sure I was, could like go up and down stairs scooting, on my butt
Yeah.
and could use a walker. And I was very good at being an amputee. So yeah, they discharged me in 60 hours. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That doesn't seem like enough time to be
No.
at the hospital.
No. Well, the whole surgery, I'm not kidding. The whole surgery from the time I went into anesthesia to the time I woke up was about 45 minutes.
What?
45 minutes.
That seems
I
crazy.
know, right? So my cousin, he's a nurse, and my mom called him, ahead of time, and she's freaking out. She's my mom. It's like
Yeah.
my kid is going to lose his leg,
Yeah.
and my cousin told her it's like they're gonna put a tourniquet on, they're gonna chop his leg off, and then they're gonna stretch the skin around. It's like, and
Wow.
that's exactly what they did. So, I mean, it's a really simple procedure.
Yeah.
They put a tourniquet on, they cut through the front of the shin, and they don't go all the way through. So they stop at the calf muscle, and then they go down farther. So there's a flap of skin on the back,
Okay.
and then they cut. So they take the flap of skin that was your calf, and they smooth out the bone where they cut it. They
It,
they
yeah.
wrap it over, and then they stitch it and staple it shut.
But don't they need to like do something with like the arteries and veins or
I
whatever?
guess they
Like
just, I mean, they just kind of figure themselves out. They
interesting.
just kind of figure themselves out, I guess.
Like, I mean, there is something called internal bleeding, and I
I
would think with, like,
I don't
an
know.
exposed artery,
They I mean,
maybe
they
they stitch the artery up and
maybe, I don't know. But yeah, they and I was in an immobilizer, so like a big padded it looked like a big brace, like a big padded fabric brace that, kept my leg immobilized.
yeah,
It was wrapped up and bandaged and stuff like that, but
yeah.
yeah. I wasn't allowed to
Wow.
drive for 2 weeks, but other than that,
Was it your
it
left or right leg?
was my left leg.
Okay, so do you drive with your feet or
Yeah.
hand controls?
So as I drive a completely unmodified car as long as it's an automatic transmission.
Nice.
One thing that irritates me is so I did get tested for hand controls, when I was starting to drive at 16, and, yeah, they said that I didn't need them. I was fine.
Hmm.
I took driver's ed just fine. When I went in to take my driver's test, they just told me that they were gonna mark my license as automatic only. And looking back on that, it's like I wish they hadn't done that because they did no evaluation.
Yeah,
They just looked at me and said, "You can't drive a manual."
right.
So so to this day, I mean, I only drive an automatic. I have no desire to drive a
Right.
manual. But yeah, as long as it's a manual transmission, I'm good to go. So
Auto.
I drive with my so I use my hip and my knee and my quad to, do the accelerator, and then instead of like rotating on my heel and using toes like most people do, I just pick up my foot and move it over to the
Yeah,
brake,
yeah, yeah. Same.
and it works.
Yeah,
Yeah. What about yourself? Do you
yeah.
automatic?
I drive an automatic with my
Mhm.
feet, and that never used hand controls
Mhm.
except for, driving one of my friends' cars if I needed to or
Uh-huh.
whatever else. But yeah, I drive with my feet as well. I kind of pivot on like I when I pull my knee back, my foot picks up, and
Mhm.
then when I push my knee forward, my foot goes forward. So
Mhm.
I use that like little pivot
Okay.
on my heel
Mhm.
to help me pressing the pedals.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, it's interesting. I love when a new person gets in my car. I'm like, hey, I can't feel or move my feet, and I can't and I'm driving with them. Does that concern you at all? So it's just a stupid joke that I have.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like as you tell your story, like there's so many similarities in my story. Something I haven't discussed on the podcast before was when I was in 7th grade. we had a pool in our backyard, and they drained it, like, except for, like, maybe 3 feet of the deep end. They drained it, and we went swimming in that 3 feet of water, and I didn't have pool shoes for some reason. I just had socks, and I went in to the pool without any pool shoes or anything like that, and I I ended up, wrestling with my dad or whatever else and just moving all around, and I got out, and there's just my toe is bleeding, and I, like, obviously, we tried to take care of it, but it got infected, and then the bone itself got
Mhm,
infected, and so they had to have a surgery. They put me on antibiotics as well,
mhm,
just like you, and then I had to have a surgery to scrape the bone
mhm,
to see what the infection was because they none of the antibiotics were working.
mhm,
And so when they I also had something called hammer toe, which is like basically my toe curled.
mhm.
And so that's why it was just like rubbing against the bottom of the pool and so it just, and by the way, I don't know if it's probably the same for you too, but any like part of your body that's paralyzed takes longer to heal.
Yeah,
Like
blood
blood circulation and blood flow, it just doesn't quite do it. So,
mhm,
um, and so it was open for a while, and it got infected. And here's another cool thing: is we we fought to not get any local or anesthetics while I had this surgery. And like the logic was like, listen, he can't feel his feet. You don't need to numb it.
mhm,
And he can't feel his feet. You don't need to put him out.
mhm.
And they're like, well, he's a kid. Like, what if he moves around? And it's like, I won't. I've been through MRIs, and they said that they needed to put me to sleep. I was in kindergarten, and I went through the entire MRI holding still. I won't move. I won't bother you at all.
Mhm,
Let me stay awake.
mhm.
And they let me. They let me stay
That's
awake.
wild.
They let me numb it. And here's the other thing, while they were in there, they fixed my hammer toe.
Oh, nice.
So they actually put a pin, so they sorry that this is graphic for those that are listening, but they cut the back part of the bone so that they could pick my toe up, and then they put a pin all the way through it. And I was awake during this entire thing. No local, no numbing, nothing.
Mhm.
And when they cut the bone, it have you ever had a cast and they use that
Yeah, the
that
saw.
saw?
Yeah.
It felt like that, and it kinda tickled.
Oh,
And it's just like it was the weirdest thing. It was an experience, but thankfully, I didn't, the infection eventually went away, and, I didn't have to, like, amputate anything or
mhm.
anything like that, but sounds like that amputation was a very good quality of life
Absolutely.
boost for you,
Absolutely.
and that's awesome. Um, did you have to go like, whenever somebody, like, goes through, like, something traumatic, like a car wreck, and they become paralyzed or they become an amputee,
Mhm.
they there's some growing pains and all that. Did you have to do that? Go
For
through that?
me, no, I was so excited and so ready to just be done with this.
Yeah,
Now, I was 23 at the time. I've been dealing with this for more than half my life.
yeah.
I was done with it.
Mm,
And, the I remember when I went to my prosthetist to get um to when they did my intake to,
yeah,
first evaluate me for a prosthetic. One of the technicians there, he asked me about, like, how am I feeling, and he was surprised when I was like, yeah, I'm ready for this. Let's do it. It's like, yeah, I don't miss that thing. That my foot had only been causing me problems for
yeah,
14 years.
yeah,
Always worrying about it, always checking it, is it gonna split? Is it gonna be infected? Is it I'm tired of it.
yeah,
I'm tired of it.
yeah. And how long did you have to stay off of it?
So I don't remember exactly. I wanna say about I think it was about 2 months.
Okay.
2, maybe 2.5 months, from the time I got my from the time it was amputated to the time I got my prosthetic
Mm,
fitted. And I was out of work for about 100 days,
mhm,
but then after that, I went right back to work.
mm,
So, yeah, so it was early April, and I went back to work in July.
yeah. So, for someone dealing with, who might be paralyzed or is dealing with an infection,
Mhm.
what advice would you give them?
Don't be afraid to try something new.
Yeah.
Maybe amputation might not be the right thing, but don't be afraid to try something new. Try, different therapies. Um, and offloading is so, so important. This is not medical advice.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice.
Thank you.
But staying off of it, it probably could have saved my foot if I had just stayed off of it
Yeah, yeah,
for,
yeah,
3 months or whatever,
yeah,
or 6 months.
yeah.
Just no pressure, just
Mm,
no pressure on it. How
yeah,
practical that would have been, I have no idea, but,
right.
I was a 9-year-old kid at the time.
Right, right, right. Interesting. Do you walk differently?
Not really, no.
Okay.
At least not that I've noticed, other than, like I mentioned, going down the stairs
Yeah,
can be a little bit more difficult. Like, if I'm, uh, carrying, like, my laundry basket down the stairs,
yeah.
instead I used to go down forwards with it, but now it's easier for me to go down backwards with
Got
it.
it. Okay.
But that's really, like, the only thing
Yeah.
that I've noticed. There is, there so my foot, my prosthetic foot, it's got a spring in it, and the
Oh,
foot is flexible. So there's a little bit of positive feedback when I pick my foot up. It's being actively pushed off the ground.
cool.
Excuse me, and that is a noticeable difference. So this is my second, well, actually third foot. My second foot was just like it, but it um, started cracking. But it's a noticeable upgrade from my first foot, which was just a brick
Yeah.
essentially. So there's nothing positively pushing it, and I'm actively having to pull the whole thing up off the ground. This is a noticeable improvement.
Interesting. I was smiling because it there's some sort of joke in there, like when you
You
say
split
this is
wristed.
no, this is my third foot, and it's like, just someone that's a fly on the wall that just tunes in
This
during
third foot.
right as you say that. It's like, wait, what?
Mhm.
Third foot? Anyway,
Something I've had fun with is if someone just says something offhand or whatever, I can pop my prosthetic off, say, and that is where I put my foot down.
I'm putting my foot down
That is
right now.
yeah. Something else I've wanted to do is go shoe shopping with somebody and just hand them my prosthetic. It's like, "Here, you go look at those shoes. I'll go look at these."
Yes. Oh man, that's hysterical. There's isn't there a store called like the Running Store or something like
I'm
that?
not sure. I don't know.
There's some sort of it's some sort of like able-bodied like walking
Mhm.
store or something like that name, and I've wanted to go in there and just like have somebody filming it and be like, just go up to them and be like, "This is where I can walk." Just watch the reaction. Oh, man. Okay, well, this is a good segue into the Wheelie Bad Jokes segment. So, um, I'm actually curious after the segment or towards the end of the segment, if you have any like jokes that you've played on people or anything like that in your life. But here's how bad jokes work.
Mhm.
I am going to tell you a joke. I want you to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10.
Okay.
If you have a joke that you want to tell me back, you're welcome to. If not, no obligation to tell me a joke back. But um, okay. You ready?
Ready. Let's do this.
Okay. What makes the internet accessible to trees?
No idea.
It's simple. They just log in.
I give that a 5.
Okay, okay. That's fair. These aren't my jokes anyway. I get these off the internet, and I always try to cater to the person that I'm
Mhm.
talking to. Um I do have another one, and we can exchange stories
Mhm,
on this, but while I was thinking of this joke, I thought of a story. I was at a bar downtown,
mhm.
and you know how the bars, like they're always like you need to sit in a high chair in
Yeah.
order to see the bar or
Mhm.
whatever. But I went up to the bar and I was like, I had my, I was peeking over the bar like this, and the bartender comes over to me, and I was like, "What's up?" And he goes, "Not you." And I was like, "I don't know this bartender at all. It's not like a bar that I frequent or anything." And I'm like, "You said that to the right person
I
because
love
that is
that.
hysterical."
I love that.
So he's like, "Well, what can I get you?" Right? And he I order my beer, and I think I made a comment about like it takes some balls to make a wheelchair joke
Yeah.
like that. Like, thank you so much.
Yes.
Like, you made my day.
Yeah.
And then I ordered my drink. He came back and he goes, "Hey man, I didn't know you were in a wheelchair," which makes it even better.
That's awesome.
Goes, "This drink's on me." So so that's my real life comedy wheelchair
Mhm.
joke. Do you have one?
So I remember I was either in high school or college, one of the 2, and being high school and college age b co high school and college age boys, we're of course talking about women,
Mhm.
and women we find attractive, and what features we like and, stuff like this, and some I don't even remember who said this to me, but they looked at me and they just said, "I bet you like a nice pair of legs."
Oh my gosh, that's great. By the way, one of my favorite pickup lines that I don't do, I don't do it to complete strangers. I've done it before, but
Mhm,
it doesn't it doesn't hit, it doesn't land very well.
mhm.
I will just ask for a girl's hand, and I'll be like looking at you, and I'll stand up and I'll be like, "It's miraculous."
I've had people come to me in stores. Well, this is one I particularly remember is this guy just comes up to me and he's got like 3 of his kids with him. They're like 4 through 7, I would guess. And he asked if he could pray for me, and I just want to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." He puts his hand on me, on my legs, and he says, "Be healed." I am this close to just standing up and going, "It's a miracle." I did because I did not wanna traumatize his children, and they would have either been traumatized or it would have been the best day of their lives. There's no in between there.
Oh, that's
Oh,
great.
I wish I had done that. Just stand up.
Oh, man, that would have been
Oh,
hysterical.
man.
My buddy, somebody approached him and said, "Hey, can I pray for you?" And he's a pretty introverted person, and I wouldn't say the best at like reading people or anything like
Mhm.
that. And so he goes, "Sure," thinking like they're gonna go off and pray for him. But they obviously just laid hands on him right then and there and prayed for him, and, he's just like, what do I do?" So
If you're gonna touch me, buy me a drink first.
right, right, right. Um, oh, man, I had another one that was pretty funny. Uh, I don't know, my friends always they think it's fun to, like, go in crowded spaces with me because it's like I'll go towards a crowd and it's like parting the Red Sea.
I've done okay, I call it Mosesing. I did this at Disney World. You just go up to a crowd and go, and they move.
Yeah,
They move. It's
they do.
great.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
glad I'm not the only person that does this. Just
yeah, yeah.
it's so great.
It's hysterical. I'm a huge practical joker. Maybe not so much anymore, but, like, I love awkward
Mhm.
situations, and I really deliberately do awkward situations. Oh, here's another one that I've talked about before on the podcast is I like opening doors for people
Oh, that's fun.
because it's so
And, like, going at like, making sure you open the door.
yeah.
"No, no, 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 after you."
Right, right. Like people get so awkward and it's such an interesting psychological experiment
Mhm,
that like some people refuse, some people will like stand with their back to the door and their toes are sticking out so
mhm.
you still can't
Yeah,
go
it's
through the
like, you're
door.
not helping.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But anyway, any other funny stories that come
Yes.
to mind?
So, I really like going to the Renaissance Festival. I don't know if you've ever been.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Oh, it's so much
Yeah.
so at the Ohio Renaissance Festival, every year they do Pirates Weekend.
Yeah.
And so I got me a pirate costume. Well,
Yes.
I thrifted just like all this crap and threw it together and so like a bandana. It's not great, but I got the whole thing for like 14 bucks.
Nice.
And I got a scrap piece of wood and I drilled a couple of holes in it, put some and it's a sign around my neck and I painted "Need Peg Leg" on it. And then I got a stuffed shark off of Amazon, cut its mouth out, pulled out some of the stuffing, and then I attach it to my stump with safety pins. So I'm going around with neat peg leg on my chest with a shark on my leg.
That's awesome.
I'm not see if I can find a picture.
Okay.
I turn my phone.
Yeah, if you wanna send it to me,
I'll do
I
that.
can
I will send it to you after.
I can put a clip in there and
Okay, yeah, it's gonna take a sec
yeah, yeah,
to
no
boot up.
worries. Yeah, that's hysterical. Yeah, I like the Renaissance Festival. It's interesting because like, people are just I don't know, it's a different group of people. They're so friendly.
Bunch of weirdos playing dress up in the woods.
Yeah.
I stole that from Saffron Finch. He's one of the people that does it at the
Yeah.
has a show at the
So do you have a joke that you wanna
can't really think of any jokes.
Okay, no worries. We can move on. But yeah, that was fun. I enjoy
I'll
exchanging stories
I'll
like
just have
that.
to send it to you after the podcast because
Yeah,
this
that's
thing's
fine.
gonna buzz
Oh,
like
okay.
50 times.
Okay, no worries.
I don't want it to interrupt us.
I appreciate
But
that.
yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk real estate. So
Mhm,
it's interesting. Before I met you, I thought you were solely a wheelchair user,
mhm,
and maybe I missed that. But when you said you do real estate,
mhm,
I was thinking like, how the heck does someone who's disabled
mhm.
do real estate in houses that are mostly non-accessible? So
I've thought about that, and I think that there would be a way to do it. So if I guess if I were to partner with somebody who was also a real estate agent,
yeah.
you know, we could kind of tag team. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, you can show them the houses, and
Mhm.
if I were a full time wheelchair user, yes, accessibility would be a problem.
Yeah.
Um, but I can do the presentations. I can write the contracts. I can negotiate the offers. I
Yeah.
think there's a way to do it, especially if you're on a team and if you delegate those tasks
Mhm.
to somebody else.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to do it.
Okay.
But yes, since I do both, I switch. I just show the house myself and
Yeah.
negotiate with people. There are some things that I mean, even if I weren't disabled, I'm 5'2", and sometimes lock boxes are hanging from
Oh,
sconces.
no.
It's like I cannot reach this thing,
Yeah.
or they're hanging in a tree. It's like I could just barely reach it.
Oh.
And it's like put it somewhere else. Put it somewhere. There are short people in this world.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, or like if especially in a lot of really old houses, the basements especially can be the stairs can be very steep
Yeah.
and it's just dangerous for me. Or like if there's no handrail going down the stairs. So I'll tell my clients, it's like, they can tell I'm disabled. So it's like because there's no handrail, I'm just gonna, stay up here. And I usually have a small pocket flashlight. I'd say, you guys are, welcome to use my flashlight.
Yeah.
I'll be right here. But
Mhm.
it's just sometimes it's just not safe for me to go down the stairs.
Right.
This is interesting. It's very rare, but I have been in a handful of houses where the stairs are uncomfortably narrow. I'm a small guy,
Yeah.
and these like stairs going down the basement, it's like the walls are like shoulder to shoulder. It's like who built this and
Yeah.
why?
Right.
Like I can't fit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know, I don't. So being in sales, I've been in sales in a past life as well.
Mhm.
I would think the tag teaming, if you're handing the customer back to me to sell the property, I would think it would be difficult because part of the sale is why you're walking through the
Yes.
house, and, like, you get the reactions to different
Uh-huh.
things, and then you can, if they're like, "Oh, this room is ugly," you can be
Mhm.
like, "Okay, so they don't like rooms like this," and if
Mhm.
they don't choose the house, you can send them another house that maybe they like better
Yeah.
because it doesn't have that ugly room,
Mhm.
right? So, I don't know, I think you're right, I think it can be done, but I think it would be, I don't know, it almost take away from the experience a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, I think, the maybe both agents could do some of the jobs.
Yeah,
It's like, the agent that's showing them the houses can be like, hey, I've got this house, and they can also, let's see if we can see this one, or the agent, they can relay, that back to me and be like, this isn't really what they're looking for.
yeah,
I think there would have to be a good deal of communication and cooperation and understanding
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Um, I've not tried it in person, so I just don't know.
sure.
Um, sure. So if nobody's done this, somebody try it.
Yeah, yeah, let us know if you've
Yeah,
done this.
yeah.
I'm definitely curious. I'm not like an ableist saying that it can't be done, so, we are both disabled, so don't come after us. Uh, but, so why real estate?
So I after I graduated college,
What was your degree, by the way?
I started with theatrical design and technology with a focus in set construction.
Oh,
And then halfway through my junior year, I switched to theater studies. The theatrical design and technology program, it was a great program. I enjoyed it. I was not progressing the way that they wanted me to progress. And a lot of that I think was one, executive functioning issues.
mhm,
Uh, and I'm not trying to make excuses. I like looking back, it's like, yes, I was having genuine problems and also undiagnosed depression. So
ah,
I think we're two big catalysts um in that. And also my fine motor skills
mm,
are they're not they're not as sharp as somebody who's not disabled, somebody who doesn't have. I mean, they're just they're not right. They're not quite there.
ah,
So and this was a very detail oriented field.
yeah,
So I switched to theater studies. I originally was planning on just dropping out of college entirely and going back eventually. But my counselor, Vicky, who if she's listening to this, thank you so much, Vicky. Uh,
hi, Vicky.
she convinced me to, uh, or my parents helped me. My parents convinced me to stay, and Vicky also encouraged me to stay. Um, but it was finals week of the semester that I was planning on dropping out.
Ah.
So I go to Vicky's office and I say, "So Vicky, I'm not dropping out, and I need to schedule classes like right now." And so she helped me with that. So I switched to theater studies.
Okay,
So I did that for. I had an extra semester tacked on because I needed 2 years of a foreign language in my new major. So my last semester of college, I took French, and that was it.
okay.
That's all I did.
Wow.
And then after I graduated college, I knew that I still wanted to do something with theater,
Mm,
still with set construction. And so I got hired on for a very short stint, um, just as an overhire carpenter at Children's Theater of Cincinnati.
Mhm.
And then I interviewed with another because that was just a 3-week gig. I knew it was going to be a short time thing.
Yeah.
So then I interviewed with another company, 3DX Scenic, and they were a entertainment fabrication company. So they weren't doing things that were strictly theater, but they would do things like like sets for corporate events and trade shows and museum exhibits and roller coaster seats
Mm.
and things like that. And so I was originally I was a contractor, but then they did hire me on full time, and I was there for two just about 2 years. And the same issues in college as far as, like, progressing and just the quality of my work just was not there.
Mm.
And I was very frustrated with myself because it's like these same issues have come back and, they weren't happy with me. So we just decided that to separate. But before I, made my decision to leave, I my brother had recently purchased a house, and he was also interested. He also had been talking about investing in real estate,
Yeah.
and I started looking into this because after college, I'd moved back in with my parents, and I got that itch to buy my own place and move out. No, I love my parents. We have a
Yeah.
great relationship, but just I wanted my own space. So I started talking with my brother, and I started reading up. It's like, I can I can be my own boss. I can set my own schedule. I can, excuse me, uh, and you can invest in real estate and you can make money off of it and you can rent it out and
Yeah.
capital appreciation, all that stuff. So I just decided that it's time for me to, this is something I think I could do. And that was early March of 2020.
Wow.
So the next week, everything shut down.
Yeah.
And so I had no excuse to do anything but study for my real estate license. So I, took my classes and all on that. And it was about 4 or 6 weeks of doing online classes. And then they had to schedule me out a few weeks just because they didn't have any available slots for me to take my test.
Yeah.
But I did it. I passed. I got my real estate license.
Cool.
And
Congrats.
excuse me, thank you. And it's so enjoyable. It's so
Yeah.
rewarding.
Yeah.
Being able, my marketing tagline is helping you find home.
Yeah.
It's like I want to help you find your home.
Uh-huh.
Whatever that looks like, you decide.
Mm.
I want to help you make that transition in your life. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, an empty nester, growing family, shrinking family, excuse me, you know, and even, an investor.
Yeah.
I love helping investors. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Uh, Speaking of investors, there have been times I've had to sign waivers before going into homes. It's like, yeah, this place has got some issues.
Oh, like liability? Like,
Yeah,
hey, if you go in here,
yeah,
you're on
yeah,
your own?
yeah. You're on your own.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, you see all kinds of stuff and helping people just in all different situations, all different kinds of people. And I've also really had to think about myself and think about changing the way that I communicate with people
Mm.
based on who they are and how that sounds really condescending. But and I don't mean this in like a stereotypical way, but like for a lot of people that they don't know what they don't know and jargon just goes right over people's heads. So,
Yeah.
I don't use the term mortgage.
Mhm.
I like to use the word loan
Yeah.
because people mortgage is a big scary word.
Yeah.
Loan, it's like, okay, I am borrowing money.
Yeah.
I'm borrowing money and I pay it back.
Right.
So, people have car loans, people have student loans, people have, payday loans, loans.
Mhm.
People understand that rather than mortgage and DTI and RI. Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Just goes right over their head.
Yeah.
And so just really kind of making things more digestible to the largest number of people that
Mhm.
can, rather than, you know, I'm the high and mighty real estate agent, and I know all this stuff and blah 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 blah. It's like I know this contract and I know that. It's like,
Yeah.
what? How can I be of service
Uh,
to you? Where are you in your life? Where are you trying to get to? What can I do to facilitate that and make it easier?
right.
And something I pride myself on is just being there every step of the way. It's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold your hand, you know, from day one to closing and beyond. It's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna, you know, check up on you and just how is your home? You know,
Yeah.
is your home good? You know,
When did you get your license?
20 it was May of 2020.
Man, that was the perfect time for you to get your real estate
Yep.
license. Like, the interest rates just dropped,
Yo,
and
yeah, they plummeted.
everybody's looking for a house, and
You know, 2%, 2 point something percent interest rates.
yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah, I refinanced mine and got a pretty awesome interest rate,
yeah.
so, yeah, that's, but so it's interesting, like, I suppose, like, you're in a very unique position to be in the real estate market
Mhm.
from interest rates being at an all-time low to going back up,
Mhm.
and so what's been that roller coaster like?
For me, I look at it as people are going to be making transitions in their lives no matter what, independent of what the market looks like. You
Mhm.
know, people are always going to need to be making changes in their lives, whether interest rates are high or low,
Yeah,
or, you know, whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market,
yeah,
whether there's a lot of inventory or little inventory. People are going to need to make changes in their lives
yeah,
because life happens to people.
mhm,
What can I do to get you there based on the situation now?
yeah,
You know, what can I do?
right, right, interesting. Yeah, so what's I guess, another question is, like, what has been, like, the pattern of the market? Like, obviously, like, you were probably crazy busy when you first got into it, and now has it petered off a little bit, or
It has definitely slowed. What's interesting is, so there historically have been like annual cycles where, you know,
Mm,
there's the spring market, especially, you know, March, April, May, when the weather's getting nicer, people are, you know, getting out of school, and, you know, people are wanting
mhm,
to, you know, they've got time, you know, they've got the summer to make that transition. And
mhm,
we're still seeing that, but to kind of to a lesser degree, I think, than
interesting.
um so but overall the things have slowed, you know, of course, since 2021, but things have also uh, and there's a multiple of reasons. You know, interest rates aren't low anymore. Nobody wants to give up their 2% interest rate
Right,
for, you know, whatever they are today.
right.
Um,
I've always said if I move, I'm gonna just rent out the home that I
yeah,
currently have, so
I I know somebody who says that, I bought this house, I'm gonna live in this house, I'm gonna die in this house, and I'm gonna haunt this house.
that's great.
Like, I am staying put.
Yeah. So does it is it stressful to have the ebb and flow in the market?
It it is stressful, 'cause there nothing is certain.
Yeah.
Nothing is certain, and a lot of times it's feast or famine.
Yeah.
Uh, and but I do my best to just try to keep people as even keeled as I can,
Mhm.
and just get them where they want to be, and just try to take a step back too and see, okay, what changes are going on in their lives, and how is their individual situation affecting their decision making process, and where they want to go or need to go, because
Yeah.
sometimes life happens to people and they don't necessarily want to make a move, but they have to.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, and then you have, like, in addition to interest rates going up, housing prices have gone up.
Yes,
Eh,
they have.
they've gone up pretty
They
substantially.
have.
And so that makes affordability and that really narrows the pool of who can afford to buy a house too,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Affordability is skyrocketed, and and also property tax values have gone up because the prices have gone up so
Yeah.
much. They reassess the tax values every 3 years, and okay, well, all these houses have just sold for 50, $70,000 more. Oh, that's the market value of the house. So
Right.
that's what we're gonna base it off of.
Right.
And then your taxes go up, and
Yeah.
a lot of it it's a snowball. A lot of it's just a snowball,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's kind of a bummer that like you're kind of at the whims of whatever prime rate is and like, that it's a bunch of
Mm.
people who vote to raise it or lower it.
Yep.
And it's like,
We're at their mercy. I have no control over it.
yeah.
It's like I cannot there's nothing I can do about interest rates.
Yeah.
I have no say.
Right. And then it's like, you can shop around and get lower interest rates from different banks, and there's a huge competitive market,
Mhm.
but then I don't know, there's a bunch of underwriting issues that you might have, and
Yep.
all that too. So yeah, that's an interesting world. Um, what's something you've learned about people through real estate?
That everybody's got a story, and everybody sees the world through their own
Mm,
lens based on their experiences. So, I might see things this way, and I might be absolutely convinced that, of course it's this way,
mhm.
X, Y, and Z. I am absolutely thinking logically because, I'm me. That's not somebody else's point of view. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
they might be thinking the exact same thing, but with a different conclusion.
yeah,
And who's right, who's wrong? Maybe we're both right, maybe we're both wrong, and we're still getting at different conclusions.
yeah,
But I think just taking a step back and just really doing my best to understand the lens, even if I can't necessarily understand it, but just trying to remove myself and as many of my own biases and preconceived notions about a situation.
yeah.
Um, you know, eh, there are, some people might really like a feature about a house that I hate.
Mm,
I don't, my me doesn't me not liking something has no sway on this. So one of my favorite questions is, if a house is 2 stories
uh-huh.
and somebody asks me, what do you think? Would you buy this house? It's 2 stories. No, I would not buy this house. No.
Yeah,
Uh-uh.
yeah, yeah.
No, I don't. No. It doesn't matter what it is. No, I'm not buying this house because it's 2 stories.
Right.
You could have everything else out. No.
Yeah.
Or this house has a basement. Maybe personally, I don't want a basement
Right.
because I know that if there's a space, I'm gonna need to get stuff to put in the space, and if there's not enough stuff to put in the space, I gotta go find more stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't want more stuff.
Yeah. May I ask, do you own or rent currently?
So I'm living with my parents
Okay.
still, which is working out very, very well.
Okay.
And just saving up and just
Heck yeah.
just saving up and investing and just being ready to really, really
Yeah.
make that move. And it sounds super hypocritical being a real estate agent, like living with his parents. Um,
Are you gonna like when you move out of your parents, are you going to own or rent?
I'd like to own, and
Okay.
what I'd like to do is invest at the same time.
Yeah.
So I have invested in real estate. So I have bought a house before.
Okay.
Uh, so so I have invested in real estate.
Okay.
Um,
Cool.
and that's uh, so that's just kind of interesting.
What
So
when you bought the house, did you just flip it or
no,
did you live in it?
we rented it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. And what made you want to sell?
So it wasn't uh profitable
Yeah.
for us anymore.
Okay.
It wasn't within our what do you call it? It wasn't as profitable as we wanted it to be anymore.
Sure.
Um, property manager fees and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
it just decided to offload it
Right.
and
Okay.
walk away from that one.
Yeah. Sure. Interesting. um. What? Yeah. Okay. We kind of covered that. Let's talk about Spina Bifida Coalition.
Alrighty.
Um, so can you tell me what it is and what your role is? And
Mhm.
by the way, guys, one thing that we were just talking about is Spina Bifida Coalition is like it's a national organization, right?
No, so the Spina Bifida Coalition is its own separate thing that is only in uh, Greater Cincinnati, up to Cleveland and West Virginia. Those are
Oh,
service areas.
okay.
So it used to be many years ago. I think it was around 2012 when the split happened, but it used to be the Spina Bifida Association of Cincinnati. The Spina Bifida Association is the national organization. Then
Oh,
the Spina Bifida Coalition of Cincinnati split off from that, if I've got my history right. And then we started incorporating more. We started expanding to incorporate more service areas
got it.
to include not only just Greater Cincinnati, but also uh, Cleveland, Northeast Ohio, as well as expanding into West Virginia as
Okay.
well.
Interesting. Okay. I for some reason I thought it was a national organization,
And
but
it's very confusing. I understand.
regardless,
Mhm.
we are in the same city. We
Mhm.
both have Spina Bifida, and you work for Spina Bifida Coalition,
Yes,
and we've never met, and
it's
that
bizarre.
baffles me. Especially like I'm really connected within the disabled community within Cincinnati,
Mhm.
mostly in the wheelchair sports space or adaptive sports. But
Okay.
do you play any adaptive sports, by
I
the way?
do. I started playing sled hockey in
Ah, okay.
October.
Y-
It's my first year, and yesterday was actually just our last practice of the season,
Got it. Okay.
and I enjoy it so much. It's
Yeah.
so much fun,
Yeah.
and I'm actually planning on continuing with it, and I'll be going to sled hockey camp in July. That's out in Indianapolis.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I tried sled
Mhm.
hockey, but like I was already playing basketball and tennis.
Mhm.
Tennis was my main sport. And there was something about just like all the gear that you have to put on
Yeah,
to get on the ice.
yeah.
It was just
There's a
like
tremendous amount of
yeah,
stuff.
and I was just like, "I don't wanna deal with that," and so I just like, I had fun when I, got in the sled and did it, but,
Mhm.
and man, like, I was an athlete when I tried it,
Uh-huh.
and, like, the next day, my back was so
Yeah.
sore from, like, the
The
sled and,
pull.
like,
Yes. Yes.
pushing yourself along, it's like I was using muscles that I did not know
Uh-huh.
that I didn't really have
Mhm.
very well, so,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Another interesting question, and then we can go back to Spina Bifida
Mhm.
Coalition. What are you introverted or extroverted?
That's so ugh. Yes. So I really enjoy talking with people. Like I am having a blast doing this, just talking, bouncing ideas off each other. It's so much fun for me. But my battery gets drained.
Yeah,
And also like if I'm in a group of people that I don't know, I'm just going to be quiet and just people watch.
yeah,
Just people watching. I like introducing myself to people,
yeah,
but I also just like being quiet and people watching because like I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what these people are like. I
yeah,
don't what am I doing here?
yeah,
Um,
interesting.
so it really just depends.
Yeah. Do you get your energy off of being alone or around others?
Both.
Okay, interesting.
So
So you're kind of an ambivert, I think is what they call them.
oh, is it okay? I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with that
It's like
term.
someone who's both introverted and extroverted.
Maybe,
And
maybe.
I do think there's a spectrum. I don't think it's a black and white, or you're an extrovert or introvert. I
Mhm.
think everybody needs some alone time and
Yeah.
everybody needs people time.
Yeah, there are times when it's just like, I know that I just need, like, 48 hours just to myself.
Mm,
I don't wanna talk to anybody.
yeah,
I don't wanna go anywhere.
yeah,
I just want me time. I just wanna be me with a book, sitting outside,
yeah,
just whatever.
yeah,
But then there are other times when it's like, yeah, I miss my friends, I wanna, go see them and,
right.
hang out with my girlfriend and all that.
Mm,
Just wanna Sometimes I just wanna be around people.
yeah,
Sometimes I just don't wanna be around anybody.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Okay, so going back to Spina Bifida Coalition,
Yes.
I was asking you what it is
Mhm.
and then what your role in it is.
So the Spina Bifida Coalition is the nonprofit in the greater Cincinnati area, as well as Northeast Ohio and West Virginia, that serves people with spina bifida. We provide resources, programming for people with spina bifida, as well as their immediate families, and just really trying to build that community and strengthen that community through all stages of life, from, I mean, literally from birth and some before birth. I mean, we work with the parents, because they're often so involved in their kids' lives. So, work with them on up. I
Mhm.
mean, and we work, at all ages. I think some of the some of the oldest people that we've got within our service area are in their mid 60s now.
Mm,
So it's like we've got a huge.
yeah,
It's like, what do you need? We sometimes, we just don't have the resources to
yeah,
provide everybody with everything,
sure.
but we do what we can. We do an annual, our biggest fundraiser of the year is called the Walk and Roll, and
Mhm.
we typically do that out at Miami Whitewater Forest, and that's a fundraiser. There's a raffle. We do, and we do a walk there.
Mm,
And then
cool.
there's another fundraiser that we do called the Kids Fly, and in that typically happens in July. And what that is there's a local. It's called the Greater Cincinnati Radio Control Club, and they fly scale model airplanes.
Cool.
And so that's also a thing for us, where we, not so much a fundraiser as it's a programming thing. We're just building community and things like that, and we try to do, family events for the kids, and we also try to and a large part of my role is teen and adult programming, especially at the transition age, is something that we're really trying to focus on, because a lot of people want, it's morbid, but it's called the care cliff. Once you turn 18 or 21, depending on where you're going for your services, I mean, there's hundreds of clinics around the country for minors with spina bifida,
Yeah.
but I think it falls to fewer than 50 once you're an adult.
Mm,
And it's like, where do you go? Not all doctors are well versed in spina bifida.
that's correct. Yeah.
It's like, so what do you do? So with me, I am not terribly medically complex. I
Yeah.
don't have a whole lot of urgent needs that need to be monitored constantly.
Mhm.
But that's not everybody. Some people have things that they need to have looked at, and they have things that come up,
Yeah.
and things that need to be maintained. So it's like, where do you find a neurologist? Where do you find, X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
Um, but and so that, just trying to strengthen that community is a large part of what we do. And as far as adult programming, what we do is we do a monthly, we call it adult hangout, and it's a Zoom chat where we hop on Zoom for an hour or so, and it's me and whoever else wants to join.
Mm,
And it's great that it's remote, because people out in, West Virginia, Northeast Ohio, wherever, you just do it from wherever you want.
yeah.
We just, and it's, you know come and go as you please, and we'll just talk about whatever, and
Mhm.
excuse me. As I've been doing this, so I started doing this in early 2024 is when I got this position. Is a lot of these people are really coming out of their shells, and the conversations are getting so much more personal,
Mhm.
and I'm learning so much more about these people, and I can ask them about what we talked about last time, and okay, this was happening at this time, what how has that progressed, what's going on,
Yeah.
rather and things are just getting so much more deeper and involved rather than these just very
Yeah.
high level things.
Cool.
And I think I'm pretty good at starting conversations between people, and just kind of like if things get dry,
Yeah.
I can usually key in on something that was said,
Yeah.
or relate something that was said to, a new question or something.
Right. Yeah.
Or, I'll see, sometimes people are, working on, they're working on something, or they're, just, um, sometimes they're, doing, crafting or whatever. We can talk about that and just keep the conversation going. And usually that segues into something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
We also do a monthly, um, we where we just get lunch,
Mm.
once a month, and we bounce around areas in the greater Cincinnati, just so because transportation's such an issue with a lot of
Oh,
people.
interesting.
So we just try to make, we try to be as accessible as we possibly can. It's
Yeah.
not perfect, but we 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 try.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Um, what, how big is it like a membership or like you're
No,
just okay?
no. So
How many active people are there? Maybe do you know what
so
that answer is?
in our database, I mean, this is, I don't know the exact number of people with spina bifida, but I know that, including like family and stuff like that, it's over 4,000 people that we're
Wow,
in contact with.
that's awesome.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'm not one of them. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you certainly can be.
I actually who's the head of
So that would be our chief officer is Rhonda Horick.
yeah oh, man, I met somebody a while back, and I don't remember if it was her or not.
Probably either would have been her or Diane Burns.
Diane Burns.
Okay.
I think that's name sounds a lot more familiar. So, um, but like I'm pretty busy, and I just kind of like I was like, yeah, I want to get involved, and
Yeah.
then that never really happened. So,
And that's something that we're totally cool with. It's, if you're living your life, do it.
yeah,
Like, be busy with what you want to do. Be busy.
yeah,
Like, you don't feel obligated. If you want to join us, great. If you got time, great.
yeah,
But if you are living your own life and you're doing your own thing, great.
yeah. Mhm.
Do it. Great.
Yeah. Well, keep me posted on events, and maybe I'll make an appearance at a couple of them. Maybe.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be fun. The other thing, so I'm with an organization called Cincinnati Tennis Foundation,
Mhm.
and we always love to do like different like group like like with different nonprofits. We like to team up and say, hey, reach out to your network. We'll do like a clinic for a couple hours or an hour, however long you want. We'll do a couple weeks worth, whatever, and then we'll like run it for you essentially. So, might be cool to do like a spina bifida exclusive event.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Definitely.
um, but and it's all abilities, all ages, all skill sets. Like you don't need to have to. You don't need to be able to hit a ball
Mhm.
or whatever, right? Like we can cater it to whatever level the person's at.
Mhm.
So, it's very, very cool, very rewarding too. If someone listening wants to support or get involved, what should they do?
Uh, One of the best ways to find out about us is, sb-coalition.org,
Okay.
and that's our, uh, that's our website, and you can find out about our programming, who we are, what we are, how to get in contact with us.
Mhm.
Yeah, sb-coalition.org.
I love that. And so what would you like to see changed in the spina bifida community?
Uh, Overall, um, not just in the spina bifida community, but in the disability community in general, independence.
Mm,
I see I see a lot of people who are less independent than I think that they could be. And
yeah,
maybe I'm wrong on this. I see a lot of people who are not thriving to where they could be.
yeah,
I see a lot of people who are they're they're at home constantly. They're not going out. They're not socializing. They're not working.
mhm,
They don't have those connections. And I think they're not living on their own. And they're not actively working toward those goals.
yeah,
Granted, not everybody has those goals, and that's fine. I
yeah,
mean, not everybody, not everybody, you know, can, live on their own 24/7.
yeah,
And that's totally fine. You
mhm,
know, not everybody can, work a full-time job. Not every not it's just not for everybody. But I see so many people who I think they're like stuck in their own heads.
yeah,
And I think a lot of it is I'm gonna say social conditioning. Like, you are this fragile little egg and you can't do anything,
yep,
and the world's a big scary place. You know, you'll never be able to work on your own. You'll never be able to live on your own. Don't try. You got to you just stay in your little bubble where you belong.
yeah,
And there's also people I know that are um on either SSI or SSDI,
mm,
and there are income limits with those. And people with disabilities, they need their insurance,
yep,
and Medicaid.
yep,
So, and they need their insurance. Well, there's income limits with that. So they're terrified to work, full-time jobs or seek full-time employment, because if they make too much money, for example, say somebody can't work 40 hours a week.
mm,
They just, their body just will not let them. But they can work 25
mhm,
hours a week. Maybe 25-hour a week job doesn't provide benefits.
yeah, it's full-time only,
Yeah.
in a lot of places.
Mhm. But if you're working those 25 hours, you're making too much money, so you lose your insurance.
Oof,
And it's just a vicious cycle of it's just forced into poverty,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah,
And it's like, what do you do?
right,
It's like, what? Because there's no easy situation. And I want to say, I think it's either, I think it might be SSI, SSDI, or Medicaid. It's one of those three, where you are limited to having $2,000 in liquid assets
mm.
at any one time. And if you are any amount above $2,000 in liquid assets, you lose your benefits.
There's something that I don't know too much about, but
Mm.
it's the Able account.
Yes.
Is that 2,000? I thought it was more.
So with the Able account, I'm not super well versed in those.
Okay,
But
no worries.
what I think that those are, and I could be wrong, I think those are investment accounts that are that don't count toward income limit.
Right.
So can be that money is not looked at.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, but
Yeah.
I'm not super well versed into those yet.
Yeah, I need to look into that because I've brought Able accounts up a couple times on the podcast, but you know the other thing that you mentioned about like independence and just going back to that briefly is one of the things that I try to do at like the camps that I
Mhm.
run and stuff like that is, especially if they're like days long camps where we're serving lunch or dinner or something like that, is like, how can you get just a little bit more independent? Like, you don't have to be living
Mm.
on your own, but like you
Just a night?
didn't carry your plate and you had your mom put the
Mhm.
food on your plate. Can you do that? Like, can you hold your plate and then she puts it on? Or can you spoon it out and put it on your on the plate while she holds it? So it's like, how can you get just a little bit more independent?
That is a great idea. That is so incremental.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mhm.
I love that. Is it can you tell me more about these camps that you run?
Yeah, so we run we just we we run an annual junior camp, um which we've just combined with a an all comers camp. So everybody comes and it's this past time it was a 3-day camp. But we also run like a couple tournaments as well. We run the wheelchair collegiate tournament for UC. And then we also run just a generic wheelchair tennis tournament and para standing tournament. And then we normally run like a camp around that for like anybody that maybe can't play or something like that. We'll do like a, hey, come watch the tennis and also maybe learn a little bit about it and stuff like that. Um, the other types of camp, and I think these are more clinics. Like we'll do like maybe 3 months of with different organizations. I coach adaptive, which it's and that can be non-wheelchair,
Mhm.
that can be cognitive, autism, Down syndrome, whatever, and we coach that as well. And it's an interesting thing because you're like, okay, how can we get them to engage with a racket and a ball? And that's it. Like for some of the kids, it's like that's all we need to do. Get them to have fun along the way, play some games with them, and all that. So, um, yeah, and then we host weekly and monthly clinics as well. I do our advanced wheelchair group does in our advanced para standing we do twice a week, and then I coach beginners once a week. So and then if somebody needs coaching on the side, I'll do that as well. So a lot of different things, but like it doesn't even have to be at like the camps. Like you know one of one of our players, like, so tennis wheelchairs don't have brakes,
Mm.
and so one of our players was transferring and he needed help holding his chair. And so I taught him to put that chair up against the fence,
Hmm.
put his day chair between the large wheel and his and then that kind of locks it into place. And then you can put your brakes on your day chair. And then you don't need any other help. You can do it yourself. So there's independence I am so big on.
Mhm.
There's another random story that I'll tell you that, so there's a kid, his parent pushed him into practice,
Mhm.
and I was like, I was like, messing with them before practice, like, "Oh, come on, you can push yourself," or whatever
Mhm.
else, right? And then at the end, I said, "Hey, I have a homework assignment for you. I want you, no matter what, unless you're extremely tired, I want you to tell people, anybody that pushes you, that you can do it yourself because you can." And his parent was there, and his parent was like, "Oh yeah, he normally pushes himself." And I was like, "Okay, great. Then we're all on board." And I was like, "All right, I gotta go. You guys gotta go." And he goes, "All right, come on." Grabs the kid's handlebars and starts pushing him.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I yell the kid's name, and I'm like, "What are you doing? What did I just say?" And his parent was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, that's right." And so it's like, yeah, just yeah, I'm big on independence.
Incremental steps.
That's so
Cool.
big for me.
I like
So,
that.
let's do you have anything else about independence? I wanna go back to SSI.
I don't think so.
Okay, no worries. So SSDI, it's interesting because I the trap that I had. So I was on Social Security disability for a couple years, and I was working at a retail store part time, and it didn't make sense for me to take a full time position. And I've gotten on like Facebook. I forever ago there was like a Facebook forum of like how to make as much money as possible while being on Social Security disability, right? And it's like, well, I think that's the problem right there is you are trying to stay on Social Security disability. It's like, listen, like maybe with an able account, save up enough money, work part-time somewhere that you know has good benefits if you get a full-time job. And then I think one of the hurdles is generally when you're working part-time and you're getting government assistance, you take a full-time position, you lose the government assistance, and then you take a pay cut, all a holistic pay cut,
Yep.
like, overall.
Yep.
And it's like, man, if we could have like a nonprofit to help people through that period
Mm.
until they can manage appropriately or something like that. Like, hey, here's a lump sum or something like that, or like a weekly paycheck for the next year until you get used to it or you get your next raise or I don't
Yeah.
know.
Or even like I was saying before, it's, losing benefit like your insurance benefits.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, right.
otherwise you are on your own,
Right.
and if something happens to you, yeah,
Yeah,
good luck.
right.
Yeah, I got on Medicare, uh, in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, 2021. And I was going from my dad's insurance to Medicare, and I was there it was such a hassle. It
Mhm.
was months of me going back and forth with them and paperwork and, you know, proving who I was and all this not I don't even remember why it was such a headache, but it
Oh,
was. It was, driving to their main offices and all this garbage, being on hold for hours with them trying to get this figured out.
yeah.
And, they finally were able to get me on Medicare. Um And I asked them that, well, because I remember they said that there would be like a 6-week period where I wouldn't have insurance. I'm like, what if something happens
What?
to me in that 6 weeks? I'm like, well, what do you think is going to happen to you?
I have a
Yeah, I have a
disability.
disability. Anything could happen to me. Well, we were able to work something out, and I did end up in the hospital in that 6-week period.
No.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it's like, yeah, things happen.
Yeah, right.
And how many thousands of dollars would that have cost me?
Right.
Just if you're not insured.
Yeah.
And what do? Declare bankruptcy, I guess.
Right,
It's
right.
like, what other options do you have?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're either in medical debt for decades,
Uh-huh.
bankruptcy.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not financial advice.
Yeah, right. Uh,
These are hypotheticals.
yeah, that's interesting. So what's the reason why I went to private, like a nonprofit kind of thing is like I don't know. Do you think the government would change?
Honestly, probably not.
I'm not very hopeful.
Uh, So I know that the income limits for I can't remember which one it is, but that $2,000 in liquid assets, it was last updated in 1989. So
Whoa.
we're talking 37 years.
Wow. That's crazy.
37 years. I ran the numbers. If you adjusted for inflation, that would be over 5 grand in
Wow.
today's money.
Wow.
And I mean, it's insulting.
Yeah.
It's insulting
Yeah.
that people are forced into poverty.
Yeah.
And I know that, I mean, if people just weren't terrified of losing their benefits,
Yeah.
they're not even, when I say benefits, I am mainly thinking of health insurance,
Yeah.
for a couple of months,
Mhm.
just so they could find a full-time employment,
Yeah.
or even part-time employment
Yeah.
where they're not, uh where they're, working, 20 or 25, 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
But that also segues into transportation, which is a huge issue as well. A lot of people, don't drive, or, if they do drive, maybe they don't have a vehicle that's in great condition. Maybe they live somewhere where transportation's not great or not reliable. There's there's all these compounding factors.
So let me ask you this,
Mm.
because my mind jumps to, because I work in the corporate world. My mind jumps to the ability to work from home
Mhm.
in a lot of jobs.
Yes.
However, if you need to be a cashier at a fast food restaurant, you need to be
Yeah.
present, right?
Yeah,
So
and I do think that working remote is a fantastic opportunity.
how feasible is that for someone that maybe doesn't have that's entry level, that's first getting into that, you know?
Honestly, I don't know.
I don't either. That's
I
an
don't
interesting
know.
thing.
But yeah,
Okay.
entry level, fully remote job, I just don't know
Yeah.
how feasible that is.
Yeah, 'cause they like, I'm in a position where the company gives me a laptop, right? And it's like I don't know too many entry level positions where they would do that.
Yeah,
Maybe there are.
maybe.
But one of the things that I also see is people people don't um like people who are stuck in that cycle of social security disability, they it stinks because it's like, man, you have so much more potential than
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And one
You're
of the
just
things
stuck.
one of the things that the thoughts that I just had was, okay, so you can only work part-time and you get social security, but what can you do to build enough skills like what you did? I'm not saying you were on social security disability, but you got your real estate
Mhm,
license, right? And now you're getting your investment license.
mhm.
And so it's like, what skills during this time can you build to maybe guarantee when you do transition, you've got maybe a higher paying job, and maybe the and maybe a job that, and also not, and maybe, and
Mhm.
also a job that has good insurance.
I think that I know that there are programs, like, adult programs that, computer skills,
Yeah.
Excel, Word, also people skills, I think are, I mean, that's intangible.
Yeah.
And,
But I mean, it doesn't even have to be a workshop that you have to go to, right? You
mm,
don't even have to pay to take an online class. Like, go on YouTube
yeah,
and just look at if business is what you fancy or real estate is what you
yeah,
fancy. Like, just there's thousands and thousands of hours on
yeah.
whatever you want to get knowledgeable on.
There's more information than you could ever learn out
And
there.
I don't have a degree. And so I think a lot, like, there are specific areas that you absolutely need a degree, but there's a lot of the jobs that are open that you don't actually need a
I
degree
agree.
if you have the knowledge and the skill set to be able to do it. So I don't know. It is tricky, but I think it is doable, and I think it takes skill building, and you need to build skills in order to get past that entry level job
Yep.
in order to do it. Now, a lot of people with spina bifida have cognitive issues,
Yes.
right? And so that might be a little bit more challenging for someone like that.
Mhm.
So it's yeah,
There's no easy answer.
yeah,
There's no one size fits all.
yeah. So you mentioned unemployment and underemployment.
Mhm.
Did we cover that?
I think so with a lot of what we talked about with people being afraid to lose their benefits or will, take a gross pay cut
Yeah,
if if they start making too much money.
yeah,
And if they it's like, do you make money or do you make some amount of money or do you not have health insurance? And
right,
v- I think that the majority of people with disability are going to choose health insurance.
right.
And with the way our healthcare system is, it's
Yeah,
because you're almost certainly going to have health care expenses.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Talk to me about accessibility in private homes. So, yeah, you have thoughts. I won't even ask a question. What's on your mind?
It's virtually non-existent
Yeah.
by default. So I think that homes. So I don't know how necessary. Okay. So this is a multifaceted question. So I think by default, most homes are not accessible, and most people never think about accessibility
Yeah.
because they don't need to.
Yep.
They don't think about they don't think about the home builders not thinking about it.
Yep.
The people that are, the architects aren't thinking about it. The designers not thinking about it. The only people that are thinking about it are the people that are involved in the disability community or people that need accessibility.
Yeah.
Um, and there is a housing shortage in the United States. There are a lot of existing buildings in the United States. Not all of them are necessarily accessible, especially private homes.
Mhm.
So I've seen adaptations. I've seen ramps made. I've seen countertops lowered. I've
Mhm.
seen doorways widened. I've seen it. I've seen, stair lifts. I'm sure many people have seen those. But to get something that is from the ground up accessible for you, it doesn't, it doesn't have to necessarily be, you know, maybe so I it almost has to be like a custom build
Mhm.
because nobody else is thinking about it,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I like the concept of universal design.
Mhm.
And what that means is that it's designed from the ground up to be as accessible to as many people as possible, and that doesn't reduce the functionality of it
Yeah.
for anybody.
Mhm.
Um, so, you know, just trying to think.
S
Wider doorways, for
mm,
example.
yes.
Many doorways are not wide enough for a wheelchair.
Yep.
My wheelchair, I think, is 32 inches wide. 30
Mhm.
it's not a very wide wheelchair.
Sure.
Even it has trouble fitting through a standard residential doorway.
Mhm.
Um, and going to people's houses is like, if you want to visit a friend, can you? Or do
Mhm.
you have to go through this big production to get
Mhm.
inside?
Right.
Um, if somebody wants to come over, is it is there a is your house accessible? Is it even accessible enough for you?
Yeah.
So I think accessible housing from the ground up is virtually non-existent. I think that most people, not out of malice,
Mhm.
but it's just generally not something that they have to think about,
Yeah.
so they don't think about it.
Yep.
And I don't think that enough people are going to think about it unless they're forced to think about it. And I
Mhm.
don't like that. I don't like saying that. It's a free country.
Yeah.
I think that
So let me play a little devil's advocate with you.
let's do it.
So let's say I have a small plot of land
Uh-huh.
and I have a big family
Mhm,
and I can't build a flat ranch
mhm,
that's accessible.
mhm,
No, no, no. I can't build a big enough ranch house that's accessible. I need to build up because I have a big family and I need more space than what that plot of land allows.
mhm.
Do you think we need stair lifts in that house or like what are we doing in that situation?
Oh, see that is the crux of the problem
Yeah.
because that is it's yeah, there are practical limitations. You can't make a big enough ranch house to fit everybody. And then it's like, do you say that, the bottom floor has to be has to be, accessible to a degree. On the other hand, it's your land, it's your house. If you don't
Mhm.
need it,
Yeah.
then why force it? There's no good answer to this shit.
I
There's no good answer to this without making somebody mad.
Yeah. Well, so I as a disabled person would be satisfied with just making the first level
Making
accessible.
Yeah, and that's something I would think about. Personally, I think as long as everything I need is on the first level,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. The I think the controversy to that is, but then you're still excluding somebody the from the top floor,
Yeah.
and so
It's fine.
it's still not accessible.
Yeah.
So there's still a level of discrimination there,
Yeah.
and it's still relegating to well, this, okay, well, you can have this part, but you can't have the whole thing.
Mhm.
It's so frustrating because I'm disabled, and I know that the majority of the world's people are not,
Yeah.
and so they're just not thinking about these things.
Yeah.
And there are some times when I just accept my limitations.
Yeah.
And I just say, "Yep, this works for me."
Yeah.
I don't want to tell somebody else to say, "Just accept your limitations and suck it up."
Ooh, I
I hate that.
that's almost like I think there's a healthy aspect of saying that to someone.
Mhm,
For example, I'm never gonna be a firefighter.
mhm.
I would think you're probably not gonna ever be
No,
a firefighter either.
no.
And it would be you would be doing a disservice to the people that you're doing firefighting for if you tried to sue to
Yes,
be a firefighter.
yes.
Right? So I think in that situation, it's like, listen, accept your limitations. You have all these other options over here that you could do.
Yes.
So go that route and and forget about being a firefighter because it's never gonna
Yeah.
happen.
These are the cards that were dealt.
Yeah.
Let's play with them. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to exclude anybody. I don't want to discriminate against anybody. At the same time, the world does not care about our limitations.
Yeah. I
These are
wouldn't
the
I wouldn't
Well,
go that
you're
far.
right, you're right. That's too how to
The world isn't mindful of the needs
Yes.
because the chances of of your kid becoming best friends with a disabled kid who needs an accessible house is
Mhm,
very 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 low.
mhm,
And so it's like, so here's I love this discussion, by the way.
mhm,
My thought is you and I care a lot about the disabled community. Someone who had both parents and some other family member die of cancer, they're probably gonna want to focus a lot of they may want to focus some of their time on cancer research and figuring all that out.
Yeah.
And so it's like I don't think we have infinite resources,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like my hierarchy of disability importance doesn't trump your hierarchy of importance either, right? And so if you want a practical house that has 2 stories that's not accessible because all your kids are healthy and maybe I don't know, like, you can go over to the disabled kid's house instead.
Mhm.
I don't know, there's different adaptations, but it's like, I know I just really reached with that sort of analogy and
Yeah,
drawing it back to
I think
two-story house,
I
but
think it makes sense though, because that's not your world,
yeah,
and that's that somebody who's their life's work is somebody who's really really into cancer researching and the people dealing with cancer. What are their needs?
yeah,
Are they thinking about spina bifida?
right, no,
Probably not.
no,
Do I fault them for that? No, absolutely not.
right,
I don't think you can help everybody.
yeah,
Yeah, I am not going to be working for every single disability organization that I can find.
yeah,
I'm not. I think focusing on your niche is important.
yeah,
And that's one of the reasons why I like universal design and like what you said about okay, we'll make the first floor accessible.
mhm,
Yes, it is discriminatory. Making the second floor off limits is by definition discriminatory. Is that necessarily a bad thing in that circumstance when you've got that you're doing the best you can with the resources you've got at hand right now?
yeah,
And that kind of reminds me of so my girlfriend and I we went to France. Their buildings are hundreds of years old.
yeah,
There is no feasible way
without
that you could make some of those buildings accessible. Not,
yeah,
I mean, it's not economically feasible. Mainly, it's not economically feasible. It's just too expensive
right,
to clutch these buildings. Now, there were we stayed in two separate cities in two separate hotels. Both hotels did have elevators.
yeah,
They were kludged in there. And when
yeah,
I say kludged, when I say they had elevators, I mean the first hotel that we stayed at, I could just barely squeeze my wheelchair in there and my toes would hit the door when it
yeah,
closed. It was that cramped. So
yeah,
we're talking like 3 feet by 3 feet, maybe.
yeah,
The second one, we could not. Oh, I'm sorry. So the second one that we went to, we could not fit me in my wheelchair with me sitting in it because it
mm,
was too long. My toes were sticking out. So I had to pop one of the wheels off, stand behind my chair, and hold one of the wheels so I could cram myself in here.
wow.
There is an elevator in that building. I commend them for doing what they could
Yeah,
in that building with this microscopic elevator.
yeah,
It's not accessible. It's
right,
not practical.
right.
Something I did notice when we were in France, lots of crutches, lots of forearm crutches.
Oh,
Far more forearm crutches than I would see here. I saw forearm crutches pretty much on a daily basis.
interesting.
But but it's less wheelchair friendly.
Yeah,
So those are the cards that they're dealt over there. Okay, this is our infrastructure here.
and that's how they're adapting.
That's how they're adapting.
Mhm.
So I don't think that there's a one side. I think that accepting limitations is healthy.
Yeah,
And I think that doing the best you can with the resources you've got while accepting your limitations is by definition discriminatory, but also probably the most practical way to go about it. Instead of helping everybody
yeah,
that you possibly could, you're helping 95%.
Right.
And it's the 20% of the effort will get you 80% of the way there,
Yeah.
you know? So you have this ground, like going back to your house analogy, you have this ground level house, or you have this two-story house. The ground level is, except, you can get in, you can access the garage, you can access the garage, you can, the kitchen's accessible. You can roll a chair underneath kitchen countertops or like stovetops.
Yeah.
The oven is accessible. Bedroom, bathroom, you can get your chair in there. You
So here's an interesting thing. I was just thinking about this, like the accessibility kitchens that the bolts
oh
bolts
oh
nonstop
mm,
nonprofit, but like
dream kitchen.
Abby, Abby Marsh, right?
Yes.
So I mean, she has a fully decked out
Yeah.
kitchen, and that's fully accessible for her.
Yes.
I I struggled to say that the first level should go that far
Mhm.
because sometimes space is limited in your kitchen and you need a cupboard instead of a roll under
Yep.
cabinet, so
Yep.
so it's like
There's
like
compromises to be made everywhere in every situation.
yeah, and if you move into a house and it doesn't have that, you can maybe I don't know. I know money comes into it, but
Yes.
you can invest the money into making it more accessible, but like minimally accessible. I think for like you said, the 95% of the people I think is appropriate. And then
Mhm.
if a disabled person wants to make it more accessible once they move in, they can.
Yeah.
I think that's like a good way to go. And by the way, I don't want the accessibility to cost more.
No.
Like I
No.
don't want them to do something that makes the accessibility cost more. So
Yeah.
if it does cost more, up to a certain extent, I think, like if it's $500 more, like come on. But if it's like tens of thousands of
Yeah.
dollars more, then it's like, okay, well, you don't have to make it accessible. And it's like, but then, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I want to go back to one of the things that you said it's by definition discriminatory, and I struggle with agreeing with that statement because I feel like discrimination, and maybe I'm completely off on this definition, but this is kind of why I think it's I don't fully agree with that statement. Is I think discrimination is an act of being deliberately like treating somebody differently in a negative way based on based on whatever,
Mhm.
right? And in this case, disability.
Mhm.
And I almost again, maybe I'm wrong and I'm curious what you think, but I almost apply discrimination as like a malice.
Mhm.
And I don't think someone who's building a two-story home is necessarily
Mhm.
maliciously doing that.
Mhm.
And so that's why I'm like kind of teetering on like I don't know that I fully agree with
Mhm.
you saying that it's by definition discriminatory. So I
Mhm.
just curious what you
Oh, that makes perfect sense. I could be wrong, about the definition of discriminatory. Absolutely. Though I'm glad you used the word malice because that was the exact word that I was thinking of
mm,
as well. Because for me, I was trying to remove all malice from discrimination, just say to the point that would so there's no malice involved, and it's just preventing somebody from doing something because of X reason with
yeah.
no malice attached to it. Something that I would think of is,
So if I don't let you into my home because you're a complete stranger, am I discriminating against you?
I would say yes,
Okay.
but for but I don't think that's necessarily a bad
Sure,
reason.
sure.
For example, the driving age,
Yeah,
16.
it's discriminatory.
I think that's age discrimination,
Yeah.
and I think that instance is a good thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So that I'm trying so my thought process was removing
the malicious
malice
intent.
from it
Yeah,
entirely. But I do like what you said because your thought process is, well, there is a level of malice there.
yeah,
So it makes sense with, just we're just coming at it with different angles and different ideas about
yeah,
what it means.
yeah.
And I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, I just think discriminatory is more of a negative word, but
I agree. I think it has a very negative connotation to
yeah,
it.
but it might not. Like the actual definition might not be. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Absolutely.
Just it sounds like we're thinking the same thing, just using different words to describe it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it,
One of our viewers, please open up a dictionary and let us know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Write
Yeah.
the definition of discrimination in the comments, please.
And then they're gonna open up 2 different dictionaries, and they're gonna get 2 different
Yeah,
definitions.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Um. Okay. So, do you know how long we've been going for? Do you want to take a guess?
2 hours?
2 hours 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um. So I want to get into one. No, I don't want to get into that. I want to get into one more topic if you're down.
Yeah,
It's about 9:25.
let's do it.
Okay. Um, disability spaces. I was talking with Jake Counts about this. Do you know who that is? He's a double amputee he's the director of adaptive athletics at UC,
Okay.
and but before that he was a wheelchair basketball coach. Really good dude. He's been on my podcast if you guys want to check that out. But one of the discussions that he had, and you I think are the exception in what you do with SBC, is Jake was kind of talking about how wheelchair sports are the only place that you can go as a disabled person to be around other disabled people. Now, Bolt Strong has
I was
convinced
just
me
thinking I
has
was
convinced
just
me
thinking.
otherwise,
Yeah.
right? And I've never been a part of that, right? But Jake and I, we've come from the adaptive sports
Mhm.
space, and so we were trying to think of like other avenues that disabled people go to actually like be around other disabled people, and normally I'd say why is that important or whatever, but it's so important from like the stories that I was sharing about like teaching somebody to get just that step level, that extra step of independence and
Mhm.
all that. Like disabled people can push other disabled people further,
Yes.
especially when they're already independent on their own.
Mhm.
So I think it's so important for disabled people to be around disabled people.
Mhm.
Um, so do you think there's a level of Jake's statement that I think is partially true. Um, but I guess the gist of that statement is there's not a lot of spaces that just disabled people can go to, or that's a conglomeration of disabled people.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. I think that the overall idea is solid. Is yes, there are very few opportunities for people with disabilities to be around each other with disabilities
Yeah,
and be able to have that camaraderie. Uh, I disagree that wheel that adaptive sports is the only one. Um, but was he meaning that literally or figuratively? But I mean, adaptive sports is a very large. What do I want to say? It's probably one of the things that comes to mind when you
yeah,
think of people with disabilities coming together.
hmm,
Um, Bolts to nuts is something I thoroughly enjoy. Sled hockey is
yeah,
something I thoroughly enjoy. Sled
hmm,
hockey is an adaptive sport. I wish that there were more opportunities for people with disabilities to be able to just get together, hang out with each other, and just, I don't want to say celebrate their disabilities, but it's at the forefront of the idea of why they're there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's
these.
also there's personal things that like only another disabled person can relate to,
Yep.
right? And
People
so
that stuff that non-disabled people would not think about.
or they'd think was gross or whatever else, you know.
Yeah.
It's like um and like there's a level, I don't know. There's just that level of accountability. So the spaces bolts to nuts with the adaptive cooking. That's one.
Mhm.
It sounds like you're doing like monthly Zoom calls
Yep.
and hangouts,
Yep.
and that's another, which is great. What else is there in Cincinnati? Let's say,
I don't know.
yeah, and so by the way, this was before I met. Like Jake was one of the first people I had on my podcast. And this was before I met Abby Marsh, who introduced me to Yvonne and Eric,
Mhm.
and before you, who just now broadened my horizons on what you're doing.
Mhm.
So
I yeah, I think that I don't think that there are a whole lot of opportunities that are designed from the ground up with disability at the forefront.
now here's the question:
Mhm.
does there need to be? And uh,
I don't think that there needs to be, but I think the opportunity needs to be there,
sure,
if that makes sense.
yeah,
So I think that if it's not something people are interested in,
mm-hmm,
then why do it?
mm-hmm,
But if it's something that people want to do together,
yep,
then I think that the opportunity should be there for them to do it.
yeah,
What that looks like, I have no idea.
sure, yeah, yeah, okay. Um, Last question, and then we can get into a few closing questions.
Mhm.
But do you think the word handicap is offensive?
I do not.
Okay. Do you
Um,
think individual with disability? Do you like that term?
I think it's too wordy.
Yeah.
I like saying disabled
Okay.
or disability. That's
Mhm.
my preference. I don't think that handicapped is necessarily. I don't think handicapped is a bad word. I don't think accessible is a bad word or disabled disability. I think that those are neutral terms that are accurate.
Yep.
Um, without like we were talking about, I don't think there's any malice behind them.
Mhm.
Um, if somebody says handy capable,
I like making that joke. I'm handy
I'm
capable.
handy capable. Get out.
Yeah.
Or differently abled.
Yeah.
I hate that one.
Differently abled. Yeah, I that's just a mouthful.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I don't mind it. I think the biggest one that I dislike the most is individual with a disability because it's one, it's too long and it feels like, yeah, how many syllables?
12 syllables if I
12
count right.
syllables.
If I counted
Wow.
right.
Yeah, and it's just like it's like, no. Like, some able-bodied person it just seems like some able-bodied person who is trying to be sensitive to the disabled
Uh-huh.
community said, "Oh, we
Without
need to
consulting
change
them.
this word, and because disability and handicap is offensive." And I've talked to 2 people on the podcast that have said that handicap is accessible. Handicap is accessible. That's funny.
Mhm.
Uh uh, that have said handicap is a bad word.
Mhm.
Everybody else that I've talked to has not. But I'm being more deliberate about asking about
Mhm.
handicap because it was kind of eye opening to me that they thought it was offensive.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I'm really big on. I was gonna say I'm really big on words, but I'm big on anti words, like not changing the words and like often we we change these words because the old word is bad.
Yeah.
It
But
has a
why?
negative connotation. And I think there's stereotypes that people have about disabled people.
Mhm.
And so it's like, "Oh, well, let's change that word to individual with a disability." And it's like, yeah, but like that stereotype is going to follow that word unless we do work to change the stereotype itself.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
I like disabled. I think it just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Uh, and I also think it's accurate that, disabled. There are some abilities I do not have.
Hmm.
Just I'm paralyzed.
Yeah.
That is removing function that typically has from a body part that typically has function.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about that.
Right.
I'm not trying to change that.
Right.
Disabled.
Yep.
That works for me.
Yeah.
If somebody else doesn't like it, fine.
You know, I I actually reject the last part that you said. If somebody else doesn't like it, fine. I think I I think we live in such a hypersensitive society
Mhm.
that people are starting to word police, and that's detrimental to the disabled community because able-bodied people who are new to that community don't want to step on landmines so that they just won't get involved.
I That is an excellent point I had not thought about.
Mhm.
That that is eye-opening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you know, I don't have any data to back that up, but it's just logically that would make sense.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to stop word policing. And if someone says disabled or handicap or whatever word that you think is offensive,
Mhm.
like maybe you need to do some internal work. If you
Yeah.
think that is offensive, that somebody else is calling you that,
Mhm.
you need to do some internal work on yourself before you start yelling at that person that's a bad word to say.
Yes. I agree because maybe that's the only term that they know,
Yeah.
and they didn't mean it in any offensive way. That is the word that they have.
Yeah.
Why jump on them
Yeah.
when I yeah, I think that there's a big difference between ignorance and malice.
Yeah.
And when I say ignorance, you just don't know.
Right.
You just don't know.
Mhm.
And I think I think that there's nothing wrong with not knowing something
Right.
if you have no exposure to it.
But even then, like the word handicap, like I know it's offensive to some people. Am I gonna stop using it? Probably not. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's just like again, I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, I like talking about the word and
Excuse me.
like kind of like word police and all that. And I just don't think I think it's a good it's a good thought, but I don't think it's helpful to society. So, okay. All right. Well, we are nearing the end. 2 hours 42 minutes.
We got this.
What is one thing you hope people take away from this episode today?
There's more to people with disabilities than just their disability,
Yeah.
and I think it's worth the time and the effort to talk with those people and learn about their experiences, make friends.
Yeah.
They're living lives just as unique as yours,
Mhm.
and you might have preconceived notions that to where you just might not be able to imagine those things,
Mhm.
and they might be struggling with things that
Mhm.
you would have never thought about.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's worth just talking to, and I another thing is I I think it's I don't I think it's okay to ask questions
Yeah.
in a polite way.
Mhm.
Yeah, ask if you can ask,
Yeah.
um, and ask with genuine curiosity, and ask and listen to understand instead of listen to respond.
Yeah.
If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It does. What one thing I've since doing this podcast that I've kind of changed my opinion on. I think I had the thought of it's okay to ask questions.
Mhm.
Um, And I don't know that that is my view anymore.
Mhm,
And I'll give you an example. I know somebody who got in a car wreck.
mhm,
He was with 3 other people.
mhm,
He was driving. It was his fault. Everybody else died in the car.
mhm.
It's probably not appropriate to
Yeah,
ask that person what happened.
yeah,
So it's interesting because we both have spina bifida,
mhm,
and we've dealt with this all of our lives,
yeah,
and it's something that obviously we're completely comfortable talking
mhm,
about. Like I don't mind a complete stranger coming up to me and saying what happened. I'd be glad to explain
mhm.
that. But I think the advice that I would have is yes, be curious, but also like maybe get to know the person first
I like that. I like that a lot more. Yeah.
before you ask questions. Like one of the things I do early on is I start making cripple jokes.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah,
I do too, because I can tell that there's some level of tension there,
yeah,
and it's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna,
yeah,
just break the tension.
yeah,
Just break the tension." But, yeah, I like what you said about, yeah, sometimes it's not appropriate to ask
yeah,
questions,
yeah,
but that was me viewing it through my lens
yeah, yeah,
after I just said, "Do you think" so that's me.
yeah,
That's me,
yeah. Of
and
course.
that's a me thing that I need to work on.
No, it's again. I'm in my 40s, and I just started the podcast a year ago,
Uh-huh.
and so it's something that I thought my entire life too. Like, yeah, ask any disabled person question. It's like, well, okay,
Maybe not.
that makes logical sense.
Yes.
But
Yeah, you're right.
where can people support you or find you?
So sb-coalition.org,
Okay.
is our is our website. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, just Kevin Grosskoph,
Yep.
Grosskoph.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. And then yeah, any other that's you across all socials, or
Yeah,
is there any uniqueness?
no,
Okay, cool.
I'm pretty boring.
No, no, no. I just I think I'm on different socials as like Zach Sikora, sometimes Zachary Sikora, like
Mhm,
that's my personal socials at least.
mhm.
Wheels is my nickname on or like my username, I guess. So, um, but anyway, yeah, it's been a blast having you on, Kevin,
Yeah, this
and
has been a pleasure.
I really appreciate you coming on and taking the leap to talk to a complete stranger.
Yeah,
And
this has been great.
yeah,
Eye-opening, fun.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is very enjoyable.
yeah, it's been fun. Anything else that you want to shout out or talk about or?
Not really, not off the top of my head,
Cool.
no.
Well, yeah, thank you again for coming on. And everybody else, thank you for joining the Rolling Forward podcast. If you like what you heard, hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, something that you learned today or something that you disagreed with, or a question that you have for Kevin. But let us know. And I respond to all my comments. So, would love to hear from you. And then if you want to pick up, if you want to be a part of the wheelchair mafia, you can go to rollingforward.printful.me and pick up one of these shirts. And you can find a whole bunch of other like funny shirts on there as well. Again, that's rollingforward.printful.me. And also, if you have a story worth sharing that fits the theme of what we're doing here today around purpose or disability or really anything, reach out to me. You might even be my next guest. So until next time, keep rolling forward. Bye, everybody.